Well, Taxi, I see you're already in here. I hope you guys had a good weekend. There's been a lot of true crime news that have been coming out, and I've taken a break from true crime for the past couple days. Okay, usually I try to be on top with all the news and all that stuff, but I literally just took a break, and I was just like, no, I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna chill for a little bit. But we're back on doing some true crime stuff, and I'm gonna cover some maybe old news and maybe some new news to you guys, depending on if you guys have been following up with it as well. But I want to talk about, let's see what we got for today. I think today might be maybe a short-ish stream. I don't know, depends on the pace. But I wanted to talk about Brian Kohberger. Hi, Ms. Mentaz. How are you doing? Dropped everything. Hello. Thank you. I want to talk about Brian Kohberger. Now, they released his official alibi about a couple days ago. And then also, for those of us who are following the Apple River stabbing, there's been a guilty verdict on that. But I really wanted to hear from the jurors. I wanted to know what they deliberated about, if they thought it was first-degree intentional homicide, how did they get from that to reckless homicide, and what do they think about the defendant testifying. So things like that. These are a lot of things that we were wondering, like we wish we could be a fly on the wall in the jury deliberation, but you can't. So there has been a juror that has spoken out, and I did do a little quick research this morning. I don't think there's been any other jurors that's spoken out about it. So let's just cover the first. I think there's like one or two jurors that spoke about it. But what else is there? Oh man, I feel like I'm so rusty now that I haven't streamed in a couple of days. Hi Lily, how are you doing today? What's up, Moondog? Hello. And then I did want to talk about the Frankie children, the eldest of the two, Sherri Frankie and Chad Frankie. Now, Chad Frankie did a Twitch stream, and I was gonna watch it and I was gonna react to it, but I was like kind of just lazy. I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. I was really lazy, and I was like, maybe I'll do it in a couple days, maybe I won't, whatever. But I believe Chad has deleted the Twitch VOD, so that's not out anymore. But I did cover like a quick little recap thing because I didn't watch the VOD, but I listened to the recap I read the recap. It was like on a Reddit page, and we did that. But there's some parts of it that's on Law and Crime that I wanted to watch and share with you guys. Chad did talk about Ruby Frankie and what he thought about her sentencing speech, and did talk about how long did he think the women should be in jail for, and whether or not he's visited his mom, Ruby Frankie, yet, and things like that. And then I kind of want to switch on over to Sherri Frankie. She's been on a podcast. I think it came out about I think like the beginning of this month, maybe like a couple weeks ago. But I wanted to listen with you guys, and I did start listening to it because I thought it was interesting, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna listen to this with you guys live. She starts with talking about her family dynamic, growing up, and things like that. So I just thought it was really interesting, and it's just kind of like on a positive note. But I hope you guys are doing well. And hello. Also, I have a video that I'm editing right now. So the reason why today's gonna be kind of a short stream, or maybe short stream, I have a video that I need to put out. I finally finished the ABC 2020 special. I think it's titled Mom Influencer to Felon. So I watched that. I kind of did a recap on that for you guys. I think some of you guys were saying that you guys either don't have the streaming service or you don't have access to it in your country. So I did a recap about it, and I thought it was interesting. Hi, Jeffrey. How are you doing today? Hello. What should we start with today? What do you guys want to start with today? Should we start with... Maybe we'll start with like the easy stuff and just get it out of the way. Maybe. Where is everybody? They're coming on over. Everyone's sleeping right now, They're probably jet lag. Maybe there's like a... Also, today, my stream is pretty early. Today is a 10:30 a.m. stream. Normally, my normal streams, if I'm not covering a court stuff... usually my stream starts like 3 hours from now. So people are probably like, oh my God, Courtney, why are you here? Hi, Kirsten. How are you doing today? Hi, Senna. Make a video on Bubba, the chicken killer. Listen, Bubba didn't kill the chicken. You can't accuse Bubba of killing the chicken. That hasn't been proven yet. Bubba was probably just trying to save the chicken, He probably was just helping it. Hello. Oh, you're traveling. Oh, you're going to go to Vegas? Yay. Going to level up tomorrow. Hi, B. How are you doing today? I hope you pack your sunblock, your sunscreen, your hats, okay? All that good stuff. Hey, Nicole, how are you doing today? I'm here, just getting stuff done, but I have liked the video. Thank you. Thanks for liking the stream. I appreciate that. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream. I'm going to start off with... Oh, what should we start off with? Should we start off with Kohberger? Let's do Kohberger. I mean, it's super short, but, for the past couple I want to say the past year and a half, we were all wondering what is Kohberger's alibi, because the defense said that, oh, Kohberger has an alibi. Kohberger has an alibi. We're like, okay, cool, great. What's his alibi? It's like, oh, we have his alibi. We have his alibi. Okay. And so we finally hear about his alibi. I think almost a year ago, where it was like, oh, Mr. Kohberger, he likes late night drives. He likes to drive around, and sometimes he can't sleep at night, so he goes out driving at like 2, 3, 4 a.m. And that's exactly what he was doing. He was out driving. Yeah, he was just out driving, and we're like, okay, we were hoping for it to be a good alibi. Like maybe it's an alibi where he was hanging out with friends and there are people there that can be like, oh yeah, Kohberger was there, blah, blah, blah. Maybe some security cam footage to back that up. No, he was just out driving. Okay, maybe there might be some security footage of him at a fast food restaurant ordering food. Maybe, I don't know. I remember hearing about that somewhere, but we finally get a defense response, and they go a little bit more into details about Mr. Kohberger's alibi. And I don't know if you guys already heard about this, but it's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Let me do my Chrome capture really quick. Mr. Kohberger Alibi. I don't know. This case is going to be very interesting, but we have a long road ahead. I know they're going to do some sort of like a status hearing to figure out when they're going to do the trial date. I think that's going to be in May, so in a couple of weeks from now. But we've already heard from Ann Taylor, which is Kohberger's public defendant. And, initially the trial was slated for summer of this year. But Ann Taylor's like, no. I've got so much evidence coming in from the state. There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to go through all that. And I think she said there was about, was it like 500 gigabytes, or was it terabytes? I don't remember. It was a lot of data, okay? A lot of data. Like she's got to go through a lot of footages, a lot of phone calls, a lot of the 911 tip stuff. 911 calls, the tip hotline. Sorry, those are separate. But maybe next summer, maybe the trial will happen next summer. But I know the judge is like, no, we kind of wanted to get it going like real soon. But I do understand, Ann Taylor is probably overwhelmed. It's a lot of stuff to go through. Hi, Wayne. How are you doing today? How's it going? Hello. I like the bars. I named themselves The Alibi. Isn't that from that Netflix TV show? The Alibi. The one that, what is it called again? Shameless, right? Doesn't Kevin and his wife, don't they run the bar called The Alibi? Or am I remembering correctly? I don't know. I haven't seen the last season of Shameless. Ever since Fiona left, I was like, I don't know. I feel like it's meh. I don't know. Now it's just Frank and the kids. I don't know. Meh. Unless his team can produce a constant set of doorbell videos and street cameras taking him driving to and from the house, there's no way there's that many coincidences. Apparently, he's also hired his own expert that's going to say that, like, no, Kohberger was here. The phone data, it's wrong. It's not what the, the investigators say. It's not what the FBI says. It's different. So they also include his resume in this as well. So let's talk about this. All right. So public notice of defendant's supplemental response to the state's alibi demand. Okay, state's like, I'm demanding the alibi. Comes now, Brian C. Kohberger. No, see, I'm sorry, it's Monday and I haven't eaten. I skipped breakfast today, so we're gonna have a lot of mess ups today. I didn't go grocery shopping yesterday, and I don't have my apple sausage. I don't have my oatmeal. I don't have my soup, and I didn't have my bread and my peanut butter. So I had a protein shake this morning, which is usually not a good idea before a stream. If I don't eat, I for sure will have issues with tripping on my words, and we will definitely have that issue. I think you're right. Forgot that was the name of the bar. Yes, I think so. Haha, good memory ish. It's like I only remember useless things. All right, so comes now Brian C. Kohberger, by and through his attorney of record, Ann C. Taylor, public defender, hereby files a supplemental response to the demand for alibi in compliance with Idaho Code, blah, 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 blah. Mr. Kohberger moved to Pullman, Washington in June of 2022. As an avid runner and hiker, he explored many areas of the Palouse. Is that how you pronounce it? Of note, he explored Wai Park in July of 2022, and this became his favorite location. After the school year began, Mr. Kohberger was busy with classes and work at Washington State University, and his running and hiking decreased, but it didn't stop. Instead, his nighttime drives increased. This is supported by data from Mr. Kohberger's phone showing him in the countryside late at night and or in the early morning on several occasions. Okay, so was Mr. Kohberger really driving because he couldn't sleep, or was he kind of driving around at night hoping to plan his next, I don't know, or not his next, because this would have been, well, actually, we don't know about his history, right? Maybe he was planning things, maybe he was looking for his next victim, or maybe he wasn't. Maybe he really was just driving around out at night, because like when I was in my early 20s, I did do that too. I used to smoke cigarettes, and one of the best things to do would be going out on late night drives, and you smoke and you kind of just chill in your car. So, I've done it before, but I've never been accused of murder. The phone data includes numerous photographs taken on several different late evenings and early mornings, including in November, depicting the night sky. Mr. Kohberger was out driving the early mornings of November 13, 2022, as he often did to hike and run and or see the moon and stars. Okay, but what's his explanation for his car being in the neighborhood? Because there is what car does he drive again? It was like a white Elantra. A white vehicle was found in that neighborhood, like driving down towards where the house is, making a U-turn and coming back. And I think Kohberger's phone even placed him. Was it his phone or was it his car GPS? I forgot what it was. But they did place him coming back after the 4 students were murdered around like 8 to 9 a.m. Maybe he was coming back to check to see, I wonder if the cops are there yet. I wonder if they're already responding. I wonder if they've discovered the dead bodies. And no, they weren't there yet because the roommate didn't call 911 until I think afternoon, like 12 o'clock or something like that. So I don't know. It's going to be a tough case for Miss Ann Taylor. Mr. Kohberger intends to offer testimony of Sci-Ray, CSLI expert, cell tower, cell phone, and other radio frequency. His CV is attached to show that Brian Kohberger's mobile device was south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow, Idaho on November 13, 2022. Wow, it's already 2022. Oh my goodness, time goes by. Jesus, it's already been almost a year and a half. That Kohberger's mobile device did not travel east on Moscow-Pullman Highway in the early morning hours of November 13th, and thus could not have been the vehicle captured on video along the Moscow-Pullman Highway near Floyd's cannabis shop. Now, I will say, even though there was a white vehicle and it looked like a white Elantra in the neighborhood surveillance footage, you can't really see the license plate, I believe. So, or you can't even see who's in the car. I think it was kind of blurry. I do have a protein shake. I already drank a protein shake. I have another protein shake, but I don't want to drink more protein shakes. Hi, Fire. How are you doing today? Hello, Go Lucky. Welcome back. How's your trip? Hello. Hello, Biker. Corgi. Hey, homie. What's up? How are you doing today? Kohberger will say that he wears sunglasses at night. Hey, maybe they're transition glasses. Additional information as to Mr. Kohberger's whereabouts as early morning hours progress, including additional analysis by Mr. Ray, will be provided once the state provides discovery requested and now subject to an upcoming motion to compel. If not disclosed, Mr. Ray's testimony will also reveal the critical exculpatory evidence, further corroborating Mr. Kohberger's alibi was either not preserved or has not been withheld. So this is the CV resume here. Many pages. All right. So that's Mr. Kohberger there. Mr. Kohberger was essentially out late night driving and he was stargazing. And, he has a history of this and there are pictures of it to prove it. All right. So that's it for Mr. Kohberger. Let's move on to Apple River. I didn't post any videos on the Apple River trial stuff. Honestly, I got lazy. I'm pretty behind on my backlog of uploading some of my streams. But if you guys did not watch the Apple River case, and you want to know about it, we did stream about it. We streamed it, listened to multiple testimonies. The defendant testified and it did come back with a guilty verdict. Now, a lot of us wanted to know, what were the jury deliberating about? I think a lot of people thought it was going to be maybe like a mistrial. They thought that it was going to be like a hung jury, that the jury wasn't going to be able to unanimously decide whether or not he was guilty or not guilty. Because when you look at the polls of multiple streams, a lot of people were really divided. Whether or not a lot of people, when I say a lot of people, it just seems like it was always neck and neck, of whether or not he was guilty. But the jury did come back with a verdict and they deliberated for roughly 7 hours. And they came back with a guilty verdict. Now, the state last minute, I guess this is a thing in Wisconsin, maybe some other states as well, but the state was able to include the lesser charges. So initially they were going to, only solely charge him with first degree intentional homicide. And I remember when I was talking with you guys about this, I was like, I don't know if they can get him on intentional homicide, because my thoughts was, I don't think he intended to kill them. I think he just intended to maybe hurt them. But we're a little bit iffy on that. But, last minute state was able to include the lesser charges, and that's what the jury, that's what they went with. Because, if they didn't include the lesser charges, they probably would have found him not guilty then. So I just want to talk about the juror. Okay, where's the video? Shoot, which video was it? Is it this one? I looked up this article a couple days ago, so I don't remember. But Fox was able to. Oh, I think it's this one.
It's Lights Camera winning this April at Grand Casino Mille Lacs.
Oh, can I not mute this? Blah 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 blah. Okay, let me mute this. Fox was able to interview one of the jurors and or maybe two of them. Oh, two of them. Okay. I'll only wait for this ad to go away. It's not a very long video. Hold on, I'm gonna go to the part where the juror talks. Gore gazing. Okay. So here's the makeup of the jurors. Oh, did it include the ages? Where are the ages? So the makeup of the jury was mostly older. So a lot of people are like, oh, this could go in the favor of the defendant, Nicolay Mew. If I remember correctly, it was like one was in their 20s, one was in their 30s, and I think it was like the rest was like 40s and up to like there was a juror that was in their 90s. And so maybe the older jury, maybe they would, kind of like, teenagers, and they could see themselves in Nicolay Mew's shoes or something like that. But no, they came back with a guilty verdict. All right, let me unmute this.
First degree reckless homicide.
Reckless endangerment.
Where's this audio coming from?
21.
Oh, hello.
I feel that justice was served.
The jurors asked us to conceal their identities, wishing to remain anonymous while process. I spoke to one over the phone who concluded Mew could have avoided.
Hi, Noxie. How are you doing today?
The whole thing.
I mean, it's not like anybody had a fence behind him or were holding him there. He could have went, even if it was the wrong direction, he could have walked away.
We felt like we put on a good defense, but in many ways, self-defense is a community standard, and it's very dependent upon which group of 12 people within the community you ask.
And I was actually really surprised that his defense attorney gave a pretty, I don't know, that to me seems like a pretty soft statement. I feel like a lot of defense attorneys, after when they lose a trial, they're like gung-ho, like, oh, the jury got it wrong, we're going to appeal this, blah, blah, blah. But the guy's like, hey, it depends on who you ask, depends on, like, which set of 12 people you ask, self-defense is different, it's subjective to each different person, right? Hello, lady, how are you doing today? Hi, Moondog, how's it going?
Walked right past everybody and went back to his group.
Both jurors reasoned if Mew threw the first punch, as several witnesses testified, he could not then claim self-defense.
You went to Mr. Mew, correct?
Yeah, I went to the guy.
Again.
Someone he shouldn't have.
Battery arguing Mew struck Madison Cohen first, sparking the physical altercation.
Why was it important to start your kind of deliberations or conversations around the battery?
The Madison Cohen battery charge was a really big thing for the whole.
So that's actually interesting. I thought the jury would start with like the biggest charge. It seems like they started with the smallest charge, which is the battery on Madison Cohen. Now, her testimony wasn't made public, but they had snippets of it. I don't know if they're ever going to release the transcripts or maybe like the audio, but her testimony was on live stream.
Case because what that basically amounted to is, who threw the first punch? We had more people that said that he punched her.
While there was little support in the room for Mew's claim of self-defense, I am told that 2 or 3 jurors pushed for a conviction on the intentional homicide charges.
Oh, interesting. Husband work. The trip got extended. Wait, is he still in China? Where in China is he? Where? How long did it get extended to? Boo. So that's kind of interesting to me because I was wondering how many people initially were going to charge him with the highest charge, which was the first degree intentional homicide. It seems like only 2 or 3 people were going for that. So they must have discussed the intentional first degree homicide. And then because there were people that were like, we're not sure, we don't agree, then they probably moved down to the next one. And like, we're not sure, we don't agree, and then moved on to the next one. And that's how they got to the reckless homicide.
But after looking at everything overall, I think it was just more of a freak thing. It was people in the moment. I don't think initially he had the thought of, I'm going to kill one of these boys or all these boys.
Do you think he hurt?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Moondog, thank you so much for the sub for 22 months. Welcome back on Twitch. Thank you for your support. Hello. Hi, good guy. How are you doing today?
Or helped his case by going on the stand?
I don't think he had much choice but to go on the stand. I think if he really was going to plead self-defense and have a case, I think he needed to take the stand to explain himself.
Okay, so he feels like, because we were like, oh man, was it a good idea for Nicolay Mew to go up there and take the stand? But it does make sense because, we have to hear from the jurors. Definitely wanted to hear from his perspective and how he justified the self-defense, right?
I lied about the knife.
Was that your knife?
Yes, it is. It was.
In this case, which I think is probably with a lot of cases, it actually hurt him. Just like I was saying, because the stories did not match. There were so many things that were not true that he said.
As to count 1 of the information,
Yeah, I was wondering what the jury thought about him going up there and testifying.
Isaac Schumann, the jury finds Nicolay Mew guilty of first-degree reckless homicide as submitted.
In the end, it took jurors less than 7 hours to wait through where the
less than
district
7
attorney
hours.
says he is facing up to.
Yeah, he was a train wreck on the stand. I just don't know if they didn't do a good job at prepping him. But I have a hard time believing that because his 2 attorneys that he has are pretty well-known attorneys. One defended Kyle Rittenhouse and one in that case. The other one was Ezra McCandles and Ezra. But I don't know. Maybe they tried to prep him and maybe he was hard-headed or he wanted to do things his way, or it could just be that you're just super fucking nervous. I could imagine that, especially when you're testifying in front of everyone. Your life is on the line, and it's also going to be a live stream. So I don't know. It's tough, but yeah, I think it was not good. He did a pretty poor job on the stand. I think he could have went up there and explained some stuff and then like admitted to some things that, looks bad, but it could still be justified for him being like, oh, it was self-defense. But I don't know. He looked bad overall, but I think the case was already against him. Like the moment the victims went up there, I think the moment the victims like showed their scars, I think when there were multiple people, including one member of his like friend group that said that like, oh, he saw him like shoving or pushing Madison. Like, I don't know. I think it was already looking bad for him, but him going up on the stand was just like, it just made it even worse. But yeah, anyways, I'll keep an eye out because I do want to hear what other jurors said. I don't know if they're going to come out, if they're not going to speak or anything like that, but I am kind of curious if they're going to talk about their deliberation process. I'm always very, very curious about that. The prepping wasn't a problem. The fact that he came across extremely fake was, but I mean, I feel like you can prep someone to like answer a little bit better or like not be so defensive. Be like, hey, when you're answering this question, don't be so defensive. Or like, hey, when you're answering this question, like, yes, it might look bad for the moment, but in the grand scheme of things, if you don't admit to like the small things, people are going to have a hard time believing you on the larger things. But that wasn't just an issue with Nicolay Mew. There was like a witness on the stand. It was like there's a teenager who testified, and he wouldn't admit to taunting Nicolay Mew, even though we could see on the video that they were definitely taunting him. And he was like, he was like, no, we weren't taunting him. And then finally, I think the defense attorney finally got him to admit that he was taunting him. And he was like, and it's just like, just admit to things like that are like so obvious because it'll look better for you in the long run. I don't know. Amber had a hard problem too because Amber Heard wanted to make sure she was like the perfect victim. It's like, you don't have to be a perfect victim. You can be an imperfect victim. You could be an imperfect person with flaws, and people will relate to that because not everyone's fucking perfect, right? We have things that we do that, sometimes we fuck up or we don't really think about the moment. So we don't really think about in the moment. So I think it's okay to go up there and not be the perfect victim, but I get it. Like in their mindset, it's like, oh, I have to be the perfect victim because if I'm not, then maybe they'll, maybe they'll think I'm just a bad person because of this, and they'll lead to that, and I don't know. Anyways, that's just my criticism. But you know, it's a whole different game when you're up there testifying. It's possible that like Nikolai Mew had a fucking game plan, okay? But when he went up there, he was just super nervous, and it just all went to shits, and it didn't go the way he wanted. Like that's possible too. I can't imagine. Right. Amber healed all her flaws with Amica cream. I still have not gotten my hands on an Amica cream. I got a couple bruises here and there. I would love to use the Amica cream. He's in Xi'an. He comes back in a week. What's he doing in China? Is he enjoying the food at least? Xi'an. Where is Xi'an? Hi, Lisette. How are you doing today? How's it going? All right, so that's it for Nikolai Mew. His sentencing is, it's all the way in July. Yeah, his sentencing is Mr. Nikolai Mew. Where are you? Yeah, July 31st for sentencing. Oh my God, I'd be like a nervous wreck. For me, I would just like, just rip off the band. Just please, tell me. Just tell me now. Just let me know what my sentencing is. But he's going to have to be sitting there for like 3 months, just wondering what his sentencing is going to be. But anyways, all right, let's move on next to, what do we got here? Let's move on next to this one. Okay, so let's talk about Sherri Frankie really quick. Sherri Frankie did a Twitch stream where it's my understanding that he just wanted to stream, probably play some video games, you know, play Fortnite, but people came in and of course, you know, they're going to ask you questions, right? It's a live stream. It's like, oh, this is a great way to get some Q&A session. And that's probably what happened. Like a bunch of people probably started asking him questions and he probably wasn't really intending on answering any of their questions, but because it's a live stream and sometimes it feels unnatural to say no to people, he probably just wanted to seem like he was an open book and he was just kind of like, you know, like really comfortable with answering questions. But after that Twitch stream, I think maybe after a couple days, he eventually did remove the VOD. I don't know if it's back up or anything like that. I haven't checked since, but I did see the VOD was removed. I could probably see him maybe like telling himself like, oh, you know, why did I do that? Why was I being so transparent? I didn't really need to be transparent. You know, I could have just played my video games. And he probably decided to delete it because he was like, you know, like maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Maybe I should have waited. Or maybe someone gave him shit for it. You know, maybe one of his family members was like, oh, why did you answer these questions? Or why did you say this? Why'd you blah, blah, blah? I don't know. But I was going to watch it, but I didn't because I was being lazy and I was like, I'm lazy. I don't feel like doing this right now. But it's okay. I think we went over a summary of the Twitch stream. There are people on Reddit that watched it, but there's snippets of it on here that wasn't actually mentioned in the Reddit, and I just wanted to listen to some of it with you guys. It's like nothing long or anything like that, but I wanted to go from this, and then let's go to Sherri Frankie afterwards. Hey girl, Rockets fired at us today, but where are you? I still have a headache. Are you in Israel or something? Or somewhere out there in the Middle East? I was happy you were streaming to decompress. Oh, stay safe. I hope you're okay. After you stop leaving turds on people's bed and blaming it on the dogs. Listen, when people introduce fecal matter, okay, in their abuse, okay, that is on a whole nother fucking level. All right, Amber Heard. There's this woman that I wanted to do a true crime story time on. I forgot what her name is, but she was abusing her husband and she also was doing some really weird things with fecal stuff. And I don't know, you just have to be some sort of like special person to be doing that. Like, I don't, that's just like so nasty and that's just so foul. I don't know. It's just so gross. Like, I can't imagine like the process, like you would have to imagine her either hopping on the bed, taking a squat and then shitting on it, or squatting in the toilet, shitting on it, and then like picking it up with her bare hands or toilet paper and then putting on the bed. I don't fucking know. Okay, I don't even know. I don't even know. Fecal abuse, that's a shitty thing to do. Hi, David. How are you doing today? Oh, you are? Okay, well, stay safe. Hope you're doing okay over there. I don't know, business stuff. Oh, and some sightseeing as well. Okay, well, I hope he has a good time there. I'm sure you miss him. I don't know. If Dennis goes to like work trips like a couple days at a time, but like weeks, I'm like, nah. Like, luckily he doesn't do weeks, but I don't know. I don't know if I could do weeks. That's too much. I don't know. I'd probably go nuts. Okay. All right, y'all. The problem this now that Amber advertises ugliness. No, I don't think other people are copying. No, please don't copy Amber. No, I don't think so. I think they're like, oh, wait, hold on a second. Let's not make false accusations because this is what happens when you do it. You might get caught. Oh boy. All right. Hi, Veronica. How are you doing today? Let's move from the poop talk. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the Chad Frankie. So there are parts of the stream that they were able to clip out, and I just want to listen to them with you guys.
Where he is gaming at the same time and getting all of these questions in the chat. This is on like a Twitch stream where he's gaming, talking to his gaming partners, and also talking about his personal life. And something that's really interesting is not really holding back with a lot of his thoughts about that.
Oh, wait, there's a little cat back there. And I get it too. Like when you're streaming, sometimes when people ask personal questions, you're just like, oh, I feel comfortable. This is my community. And you know what? I want to be an open book. But then later on, you might be like, why did I say that? Oh God, why did I say that? I didn't have to answer those questions.
Talking about what was Jody like? What were his interactions with Jody? I still haven't spoken to Chad, and I certainly haven't spoken to Sherri. Those are her wishes not to speak to.
Taxi, that might be the woman that I'm talking about. Yeah, I wanted to do a true crime story on, oh my God, because she seems wild.
Someone of what I do. But at the same time, Chad has been very vocal just by answering questions from random folks online about this situation.
Brian Schnee's like, please do an interview with me, Chad.
In the chat.
I still get a lot of questions about my younger siblings. I'm just not even going to talk about them at all. They're still minors. They're still kind of in DCFS custody, so I'm not even gonna mention that.
And Brian, he talks about how he was in denial, how he was in shock when Ruby was arrested, how he lives with his dad, Kevin. What did you make of those comments?
So is he living with his dad, Kevin, right now?
I'm not surprised that he had to go through the processing sort of scenario that anybody would that has to deal with family trauma such as this. And I'm sure it's far from over too, Jesse. I mean, think about this. He's a young kid still, a young adult, trying to go through the motions of life here as this whole custody thing with his siblings is still not over. Still, at the end of the day, so much has already been made public with this situation. I think the fact that he's finding ways to cope with it and finding ways to at least have an outlet, it may not be the way that I would do it or others would do it, but nonetheless, it falls in line with his lifestyle. And I think it's really interesting that he won't do this. He won't sit down and do this conversation.
He's like, please let me interview you.
Conversation. He prefers to be in the comfort of his room with the game controller in his hand, trying to achieve the goal of the game while just kind of rattling off these thoughts. And he's really not holding back from a lot of things. And we have learned a lot in just a short amount of time from him doing these video streams. A lot of people on, TikTok channels and other social media sites have really gravitated towards what Chad is saying and have been putting those things out there to add a little bit more clarity or color commentary to the situation, if that makes sense. But at the end of the day, it seems like he's doing well, at least from the outside.
Chad Frankie mentions Ruby in prison. Boyfriend, my mom's in prison. Wait, did Chad make this or did someone make this and they put the fonts over it?
Is doing okay. And that's all, at least in my circumstance, of covering the egregious acts of what mom did.
I mean, I think he still lives with Kevin Frankie. I know that Sherri's in college, but they never mentioned anything about Chad being in college. So I'm not quite sure about that one.
Did to the other kids. That's all I can hope for. I can just hope for us. There was a lot of early emphasis on what happened to him in some of these.
Started not even thinking he would talk about it, but he said, like you said, he's found it therapeutic. And he once answered a very interesting question.
Have I visited Ruby in prison? I have not. I have not done that.
Are you going to?
That's interesting how he's responding that question by calling his mom Ruby instead of saying, oh, have I visited my mom in prison? He's like, no, have I visited Ruby in prison? It's like a way for him to put a distance between him and his mom. What? Wait, hold on a second. What is that? Wait, did someone... When you donate, can you upload your own image? I guess you could. Sometimes when you donate on Twitch, depending on what donation services you use, I guess you can sometimes upload photos, but you have to pay extra for that. Like you have to pay like super extra for that. Someone sent this picture of Ruby and Jody behind bars, and Ruby has devil horns. What the fuck is Jody wearing? She wearing like a Santa hat or something? I don't know. And they're like, there's like fire behind them. Like, oh my
god. If I did, it won't be for a long time. So.
Such a
visited Ruby in prison? I have not.
Very interesting question.
Have I visited Ruby in prison? I have not. I have not done that.
Are you going to?
Oh god. Every time. Well, it's okay. The AC's not. So we have a plumber who's here right now, just doing maintenance stuff, and it's like, oh, your pipe is corroding. Oh, that might be $500 to fix it. And then we asked him to look at the shower, and he says it's gonna be $1,300 to fix it. Oh my god, how do people afford plumbing services? It's so expensive. Like every time they come over, plumbing, AC, it's like $5,000, $10,000, $2,000. How do people afford this shit? Like we have home insurance, but home insurance doesn't cover this type of stuff. Home insurance covers if a tree falls on your fucking house. Okay, sorry, that's my rant.
Oh, sorry.
What?
That's all I missed. You asked.
Oh man, houses are so expensive. Okay, well, so the reason why we work with this company is because we've worked with a lot of really shady plumbers, and this company has been solid through and through. Good customer service. They come back if there's any issues or anything like that. So it's like we're probably paying a premium for like excellent customer service. You know, we've had some people come through and a lot of bad experiences. So that's the reason why we've been sticking with this company. Yeah. We've had some very interesting. I need to make friends with a plumber. I need to make friends with a veterinarian. I need to make friends with a contractor, a gardener, you know, anyone in the LA area. I just need friends who are in these businesses. Okay. All my fucking friends are, I don't know. They all work like 9-to-5 jobs, but none of the useful jobs. Okay, they all do like marketing or consulting and social media, OnlyFans. You know, that shit doesn't fucking benefit me. Okay, I need to get rid of all my friends, and I need to make some new friends. What I need to adopt a dad, you know, like a good old dad that knows how to do housework, that knows how to do plumbing, that knows how to hang things, you know. I need to find a friend that's like, you know, just like, who needs a dad that needs to be adopted? I need to adopt a dad. Luckily, I have all those things, or am one of those things. Yeah, Storm, you need to come move to fucking LA, okay? Fuck Texas. But yeah, I don't know. I just want, and it's not like I want to take advantage of these people. I just want someone where I can trust, where I could be like, hey, by the way, I'm getting charged for this. Like, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think like, you know, they're ripping me off or what? But yeah, anyways, I don't know. But this company, you know, the people are good. It's just that they just. I always look for the ones that have insurance. I had to call plumbing company insurance once because they actually nailed a water pipe and folded my restroom. Yikes. Not, I can't. We went to Austin and I was like, I like Austin, but it's too humid. My hair just doesn't do humidity. I'm sorry. Get a Mexican dad? Listen, I do have one, but they live very far away from me. And her family actually did a huge job with the renovations. So I do have one, but they don't live where I live. They all live far away from me. But yeah. Yeah, I see your problem. Your shower's in LA. I know. The problem is just LA. Okay, the problem's just fucking LA. I need to get the fuck out of here. But the weather is good. The food is good. Sorry, we were detracting so much. Anyways, that was just my rant of the day. You know, just house stuff. I try to do everything myself, okay? Like the gardening thing, I did that all by myself. I was quoted like $5,000 to do the gravel, removing the weeds, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm doing it myself. And that was, dude, my body was like, I think I was lopsided for a couple days afterwards. Anyways, I had a water leak on my first day of work. Was up 2 days solid, emptying a bucket every hour while waiting for the plumber. Yeah, plumbing stuff is just like all the issues that I have with this house is just plumbing stuff, okay? Oh my gosh. And then we found out that the previous owner used PVC to replace his plumbing stuff, and it's underground. And they're like, you're not supposed to use PVC underground. You're supposed to use copper, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I don't fucking know. Okay, anyways, I should just go back to renting. We should go back to renting. I told Dennis this anyways. I was like, you know what? Let's go back to renting, because if we're expecting there to be a huge earthquake that's going to decimate LA, California anyways, we're going to be fucked, because let's say our house gets ruined. One, I don't think homeowners insurance even covers earthquake. I don't think anyone does. And then two, it's just like, we're just going to be screwed. Like, I don't know what we're going to do. Might as well just rent. Let's just rent. I hate plumbing. Should I just become a plumber? Maybe I should just become a plumber. Because I feel like whenever I have issues with like finding people to do work, I just do it myself. But now I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna be a plumber. I should be a plumber. Yeah. Anyways, but this company, they're usually pretty good. All right, y'all. And also he's here. Maybe he can hear me. I don't know if he can hear me. All right, y'all. Let's go back to Chad Frankie.
If I did, it won't be for a long time. So.
Sorry, they're asking Chad if he visited Ruby in prison yet.
Have I visited?
Said he, like you said, he said he's found it therapeutic, and he once answered a very interesting question.
Have I visited Ruby in prison? I have not. I have not done that.
Are you going to?
If I did, it won't be for a long time. So.
Such an interesting response. And during her sentencing hearing in February, Ruby took accountability for her actions, or seemed to, saying that she was brainwashed by Jody into thinking that this was the right thing to do for her kid.
Honest question. Do you guys believe that she was brainwashed by Jody? Like sometimes when you make a new friend, that friend could be a huge influence in your life. But do you guys believe that she was brainwashed by Jody?
Kids, and that it was the only way to save them. She apologized. Nope. She agreed that she deserved to spend time behind bars.
Like, I don't know. I feel like because she's a huge people pleaser, I think she just wanted to be on Jody's good side. I think Jody was just a huge influence. Like, there are some people that make friends and you're just like, hey, you're my friend. But there are some people that make friends and they make that friend like their whole identity. But that's like elementary school, middle school stuff. I don't know, like in high school maybe, you know? When you're like in your, I don't know, like 30s, 40s, 50s, you kind of have your own identity and you're not going to let someone else kind of just like take that away from you. But there are people that are like that. Like that's why people sometimes get sucked into cults, or that's why sometimes people, I don't know, get scammed, right? It's just stuff like that. You believe Ruby was way evil before Jody came along? Master says yes. Kay says nope. I think she just wanted to make her friend like her more. I don't think she was brainwashed. I think she was already living the edge of evil, but Jody helped push her over. Listening to the other lady who felt conned, it sure seems she could have been a victim too. Who was the other lady? Ruby had a harsh parenting before Jody, but a lot of the religious people can have harsh parenting practices.
So Chad was asked, what do you think about your mom's statement?
I'm going to be honest. I thought it was very genuine. I thought it was a little weird. It sounded like she was receiving an Oscar.
Listen, that's what I said. When we were listening to the sentencing speech, I was like, it's kind of odd. And it's even more odd now that we know how her demeanor was towards law enforcement. When they first tried to talk to her, pick her up, she was just like, not talking to you, not looking at you. And now she's like, oh my God, guys, I thank you so much. Thank you so much for like coming to my rescue. Thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for that. But
or something that she was like thanking everyone in the audience. It was. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was very genuine.
Chad cracks me up. Yeah, he's just very candid.
I thought it was a little weird. It sounded like she was receiving an Oscar or something. That she was like thanking everyone in the audience. It was a little strange and it was super long. But I've seen her growing up and I've seen her be genuine and emotional and what sounds real and what's not genuine. And I think that she was being very genuine in the sentencing hearing. I'm going to be honest.
So, Brian, really interesting series of responses when he's asked about his mom. What's your take?
Well, I was in the courtroom that day.
Oh, Paige Hannah. Okay, that's what you're talking about.
When just off to my right, we're seating, Kevin, Chad, Sherri, and Ruby's brother was also there, Bo. So when she was reading that statement, I could see their reactions. And Kevin was emotional, watery-eyed, as you might expect. But Chad and Sherri were just like off in the distance, almost staring towards the judge, John Walton, and really stoic faces. And I'm not.
Yeah, and I think Chad and Sherri, I think it's because they've experienced through some shit. They've seen shit. So when their mom is up there giving her speech, they're probably just like, I don't know, like maybe almost like numb to it. And then Kevin Frankie, of course, super emotional because we all know how much Kevin Frankie loves his wife. Actually, they're divorcing now, so, but maybe they won't.
Not surprised, perhaps, that maybe he feels that way of, hey, I'm not visiting mom for a while because of what happened, but also in the same sense of he had to be there through this and he had to see what happened to his siblings.
Yes. Ruby acted like a 5-year-old girl. I'm a good girl. I don't do naughty things. Yeah, there are times where Ruby's choice of vocabulary or the way she says things, it does sound like a child, right?
At the end of the day, I think there's probably the hope of what could I have done, right? You would imagine that maybe that thought has crossed his mind. It sounds like this.
You feel like, I think Chad and Sherri actually avoided the worst of it. I don't think Ruby was doing this to the older kid. Well, we all know that Sherri did tell law enforcement that she was estranged from her parents because of their parenting technique and what they put her through. So maybe more happened behind the scenes. And then with Chad, I mean, we know about the beanbag thing, taking away the bedroom for what, how many months? But yeah, I mean, definitely probably avoided the worst, but like the intensive stuff probably came when Jody came around and when Kevin Frankie wasn't in the house anymore.
Their relationship wasn't, just all flowers and roses and all that from the get-go. It almost feels like he gravitated more towards his father even before this, just by hearing him talk more about that. So
I feel like Ruby got off easy. There shouldn't have been any plea for her. I feel like she's more to blame. She's provided access to her kids, and there are always people like Jody wanting to hurt your kids.
At the end of the day, yeah.
Well, we'll see how long they're going to be in prison for. I mean, I watched the 2020 doc, and I hated how they ended it because I was like, oh, God, why disturb my mind like this? They ended it with, these women could be eligible for parole of August 2027. I'm like, what the fuck? That's like 3.5 years from now. No.
It was a long statement. She did thank everybody. She thanked the first responders. She thanked the prosecution. She thanked Kevin for the 20 plus years of marriage and obviously apologized in that. And of course, we can always go back to it. Was it genuine? Was it heartfelt? It appeared to be so from being in the courtroom, given what we saw early on. And then once the evidence was released, going back and seeing just the genuine change in body language from the day of the arrest to that months later, it did appear to be a change in character for Ruby Frankie. So I do think Chad is onto something there.
It was a 180. It was a 180 from her giving the silent treatment to law enforcement to what she ended up saying. And look, Chad, he was also reportedly asked how long he thinks Ruby and Jody should spend in prison. He said, I think he said 18 years for Ruby, and he thinks Jody should never get out.
I thought he said until the kids turn 18 at a minimum, and then never getting out for Jody. I thought that's what he said.
Recent days, he's answered other questions on Twitch. What's your
because saying 18 years for Jody or for Ruby just sounds really specific. Like 18 years, why not 10 or 15 or like 20? Why not like a more rounded number?
favorite food? Where do you want to travel? So maybe getting out of
I am right. Yes, I love being right.
this different kind of questioning. I want to ask you about Ruby's sisters. So Ruby has these 3 sisters, Bonnie, Julie, and Ellie. And all 4 of these sisters had their own YouTube and or social media following. They often
There's nothing new with the sisters. So we covered Bonnie's response. Bonnie did make a video about a couple weeks ago, and she was like really upset. She was going through the mean comments in her videos, in her social media posts, and we were like, Bonnie, don't do that, Bonnie. Just get someone else to filter those responses for you. I don't know, just don't go through them. It's not going to be good for your mindset, especially when she has so many kids to take care of, her family and all that stuff. Like, just don't do it. Just don't fucking do it. And then like the other siblings, I don't think they responded, or they did like a joint Instagram post when this all came out. And then I think Julie did a video about it like a couple weeks later or something like that. But ever since then, they really haven't said anything. Yeah, Bonnie, stop reading the comments. Don't do it, Bonnie.
posted videos of their families, vacations they've taken, passion projects like building a dream home. You get the picture. So a family
Damn, Jesse.
that has created a connection with the community through their posts. And when information started to come out about Ruby, there may have been an expectation that the sisters would put out some sort of statement. Well, Ruby and Jody, as I mentioned, they were arrested on August 30th. And Ellie and Julie, they released a statement on Instagram saying, for the last 3 years, we have kept quiet on the subject of our sister Ruby Frankie for the sake of our children, of her children, excuse me. Behind the public scene, we have done everything we could to try and make sure the kids were safe. We wouldn't feel right about moving forward with regular content without addressing the most recent events. Once we do, we will not be commenting on it further. Ruby was arrested, which needed to happen. Jody was arrested, which needed to happen. The kids are now safe, which is the #1 priority.
Jody's head is shaped like Kermit. Don't be doing Kermit the Frog like that. Hi, Christine. I hope Kevin has started thinking about how he may have changed his ways of thinking since this has happened. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope he's an introspective person. I don't know. Kevin, I don't know.
And less than 2 weeks later, I believe on September 13th, both Julie and Bonnie, they put out video statements on their YouTube channels. They explained that Ruby had grown distant from the family after joining Connections and that she kept her children away from family functions.
I felt so much sympathy towards Adam Paul Steed. I don't know why I don't feel the same about Kevin. He supported Ruby and all this crazy parenting stuff way before Jody came into the picture. I think Kevin was just the type of person who was just like super in love with his wife. He let his wife take the reins, and he was kind of like, I don't know. I don't really see him as like a domineering person. Ruby seems like more of a domineering type of person. And I think he kind of just laid back and just let her take the reins. I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't like a huge, I didn't watch 8 Passengers. I didn't watch their vlogs. So maybe it's different. Maybe for those of you guys who actually watch those vlogs, maybe Kevin had more of a strong presence or something like that. But for me, I just saw it more as like Ruby. And I think someone said that Kevin did a lot of traveling. So Ruby was in charge with raising the kids. And, Ruby seems like she has like a fucking strong personality, okay? Ruby doesn't seem like a type of person that you say no to. Kevin still wrapped around Ruby's finger. Kevin needs to learn to stand up for himself and not to be a doormat. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably something that he's going to work towards and try to do. Yeah. But I will say that Kevin, I was a little skeptical about Kevin when he first came out saying that he was also a victim of Jodi Hildebrandt. I was like, the timing is a little too good, because at this point, we hear about the abuse of his kids. Adam Paul Steed speaks out about it. Jesse Hildebrandt speaks out about it. And then all of a sudden, Kevin Frankie and his lawyer, through his attorney, was like, you know what? Kevin Frankie realized that he was actually also a victim of Jodi Hildebrandt. He's also been manipulated. He's been tricked, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, is Kevin Frankie just jumping on the bandwagon because now he could be thrown into the category victim? But now that we have the police interrogation on the day that the children were found, Kevin Frankie comes in the police station hoping to pick up the kids, and they looked at him like a suspect. Kevin Frankie did mention the porn addiction. He did mention that, he didn't like the way he treated his wife. He did mention that, he was separated from the kids, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you know what? And all this came out before Adam Paul Steed and Jesse Hildebrandt came out. So that's why I'm starting to think that You know, like Kevin is a victim of Jodi. Now, should he allow himself to? Because, you know, he did mention that, oh, you know, Jodi was like doing some really weird stuff and blah, 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 blah. I just don't know why you would leave your kids with Jodi. But I think he really, really, really trusted his wife. And he really believed that, you know, she was going to take care of the children, even though he wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Or maybe he doesn't give a fuck about the kids and he was just looking out for himself and he just wanted to do anything he can to be back with Ruby. In order to be back with Ruby, well, he had to isolate himself from him and from the kids and her, right? But, yeah. Because Ruby said so. Kevin did whatever Ruby wanted. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm starting to see. So I'm starting to have like more understanding, not necessarily like sympathy for Kevin, but more understanding for Kevin, especially since there's been other victims of Jodi Hildebrandt or other patients, clients, whatever, of Jodi Hildebrandt that have come out and said that like, oh yeah, you know, we did this therapy program and this is what we do. We separate the husbands from the wife, blah, blah, blah. There's a public shaming session and everyone listens to Jodi. Jodi is like fucking God in the connection circle. I don't know. Really wild. Like for me, I can't fathom that happening to me, but I can understand how it happens to some people where they just get completely, you know, like controlled by another person. And yeah, I don't know. The crazy part is how easy he was manipulated. I guess it was just like easy with her keeping him at like arm's length. Kevin literally wanted, I wish we could know more about that. The fact that Kevin wanted to have Sherri arrested after everything that went down. Like, Kevin, are you serious? Maybe Kevin just thought that. I think Kevin just. I think like above his kids, I think his utmost devotion was for his wife. And Sherri going to the house and taking, you know, I don't know, the laptops or notebooks or possible evidence. Kevin probably thought like Sherri was trying to do it because she was trying to gather evidence against her mom. And I don't know, like there are some parents that just have a more devotion towards their significant others than they do their children, which I think is like, I don't know, I think that's kind of weird. I feel like your children should come first, but I don't know. I'm sorry, but if my wife told me to remove doors from the kids' bathroom, I would have flipped. But Kevin was like, great idea. I don't know. Maybe it was Kevin's idea. All right.
3 years ago, Ruby, everything was great. It seemed to be fine anyway. We were a typical family. She was getting some therapy counseling because their family needed it, which I think is great.
Is she the youngest out of all of them? Ruby's like the eldest, right? And then it's the brother. I think you guys said Bonnie was somewhere in the middle. And is Julie the one that's the youngest? Sorry, this family tree, I'm always confused. Hi, Crimson Yogurt. Crimson Yogurt. That's a weird name. Why are you eating bloody yogurt?
However, I think you need to get it from a great source. Read the reviews. Jodi Hildebrandt and her website or therapy style, I don't know what you want to call it, connections, was not a great resource. And we all saw it. We all felt weird about this Jodi lady. We weren't comfortable with it. We didn't like it. We didn't like the teachings Ruby was bringing to the family functions, and we were this close.
I wonder, what were the teachings that Ruby was bringing back to the family functions about connections? Because remember, connections on the surface seems like, oh, you know, connection seems pretty good. This is something that could actually be helpful towards, you know, helping out my family, my relationship with my spouse, my relationship with my kids. So I wonder what part of connections was Ruby bringing back to her family that was giving them red flags?
To telling her, if you come to our family events anymore, we do not want to hear what you were learning through connections because we don't like it. We never did say that to her, but we thought it.
Behind the scenes, we did everything that we could. We did everything legally that we could do.
Where the hell is Bonnie? Why is it so echoey? You think Kevin's a weirdo? All he cares about is Ruby. Even after hearing that his two youngest children were starved, he was more concerned with how, he was like, I love my wife. I love my wife, and I don't want to say anything if I don't know if I don't know if it's going to incriminate her or something like that. It's like, okay. I think at that point he was probably in denial, and he didn't realize the severity of like the condition that his children were in.
And for those that were saying that they'd go in,
Bonnie is clearly in Jodi's fault. I don't know. I kind of like like Bonnie. I haven't seen much of Bonnie, but I kind of like Bonnie. Bonnie's like, I don't know. She kind of reminds me of like the crybaby younger sister. I kind of like Bonnie.
And bust down doors and do
But I don't know enough about Bonnie, but I'm just saying, there's something about her. I kind of like her.
whatever it took to end up in jail, because from jail, I can't do anything.
Brian, again, fascinating responses from these sisters. What's your thoughts on
Bonnie's video gives hostage vibes. Bonnie, blink. Blink if you're in the safe right now.
those?
Oh, Bonnie's in her new house is being built, so it's empty in the video. Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm like, girl, is there no carpet? Can you not find a closet or something? It's like super echoey. Hi, Sherry. How are you doing today? Hello. Him saying, I trust my wife after hearing the state how the kids were in. He said to me that he very well may have deserved what he got because I trust my wife. I mean, I just don't think he knew what his wife was capable of. Even though, his wife was doing some weird stuff, when it came to punishing the kids. But to the point of like starvation and the torture and all that stuff, like he probably couldn't fathom that Ruby would ever do that or allow someone else to convince her to do that.
Well, most importantly for me is how have they responded since sentencing, right? And it's been very few and far between for at least two of them. One of them has been much more outspoken on this and more emotionally charged by this than the other, I guess the total of the three sisters, right? So Bonnie is the one that has gone on YouTube a number of times and put out videos. Most recently, just a few weeks ago, really talking about the emotion behind this. She was visibly upset by a lot of the comments coming in, attacks on her faith. A lot of those comments, she said, are religiously charged, which is, she said, I would never do that. It's not
Bonnie, don't look at your comments.
fair. Why would you do that to me? Of course.
Connection just trained Kevin how to be I think he was already the doormat. And then Jody like smelt that shit out. She's like, boom, I got my next couple. It didn't work with Paige and Johnny Hannah. It's okay. I got the Frankies. The Frankies are next.
We're talking about, the dominant or heavily dominant religion here in Utah that a lot of people refer to as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or the LDS culture. So when you look at...
Yeah, he's divorcing her. Yeah, I think he truly fucking still loves her. Okay, I think he still fucking loves her. I mean, I don't know. I that's just the feeling and the vibe that I get. It's possible that, he doesn't. But I think he still does love her. And I think that the reason why he filed for divorce from her is to make it look better when he's trying to file for custody for the 4 minor children. Like, he's going to be like, yeah, I'm, filing, divorce. I can't believe my wife did this. I don't love her anymore. I want to take care of my children now, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think he's doing it to make it look better. But he could also argue and say that, like, hey, like, I do really love my wife, but now I'm going to choose my kids over my wife. And so even though I still really fucking love her and I fucking worship her, she's my goddess. I'm going to divorce her and now I'm going to choose my kids and I'm going to take care of them and blah, blah, blah. It's possible that that could also be another angle of his.
When you look at those comments, she's visibly emotional about this. What I found interesting is since then, these three sisters appear from the social media limelight that they've kind of gone about their business, continuing the vlogs, have gone on vacations, right?
Oh man, they're making the sisters look so bad. Going on their vlogs, but building their dream homes, going on vacation. I mean, they have families too, okay? They gotta sort of move on-ish in their own lives.
One of them is on a vacation at the time of we're talking right now or just wrapping it up. So I don't know how much more we will hear from them. I've continuously, over the course of a few months, tried to reach out and said, hey, would you like to talk about this? And at one point, Julie got back and said no. No responses from the others, Ellie or Bonnie, but Bonnie still puts out these videos every so often. And she just did a few weeks ago, again, about just kind of dealing with this still months later, in essence saying, I'm not okay still, right? Mm-hmm. And you would expect that. But then again, when you look
The Dad Challenge podcast. Hi, Wendy. So the family didn't out Ruby because she has tea on them. They're crazy Mormon. What? Mormon sex parties. I thought Mormons don't really engage in all that sex stuff.
Back towards the beginning of this, when you started hearing about these YouTube videos and potential abuse even outlined in some of the early videos. There were comments about, well, what if
back in their family channel, he was always okay, and part of the excessive way they punished her kids. Even when she used to use the no breakfast, you cried, no dinner for making a mess, etc. Hey,
Bonnie
Tanya.
do on her page way back when. There were things about that. So at this point, I don't know how much we're still going to hear from them too, because at what point will they take this in stride and move on towards their traditional vlogging lifestyle? It seems like two of them have, but at the end of the day, it looks like Bonnie might be the one to hang on to this and continue addressing what people are talking about, because we still haven't gotten a lot of clear-cut answers from all the sisters. Something Bonnie said, though, in her most
Who? The children or the sister? How are you not angry though? They seem more sad than anything about the abuse. You want the sisters?
recent video stuck out to me. Jesse, you know the journals that we've seen that were released and outlines by date. This child was sleeping on the
God, what a fucking idiot. The journals.
floor next.
I mean, thank you so much, Ruby, for documenting everything. You fucking moron.
Next to me, this child was outside. This one threw herself into a cactus.
I wish more criminals would do this. Document all the stuff that you did. Wait, hold on a second. Did Chad Daybell or Lori Vallow, do they keep journals by any chance?
The stuff you never want to read surrounding this case. Bonnie alludes to the redactions. If only you could see what is in those blacked out pieces in the journals, right? And we can't. So she even alludes to, you've only seen what's in the media.
Yeah, she makes the redactions sound really fucking bad. I just thought that the redactions were just things that were not related to the case, and maybe it was just like Ruby ranting about like some stupid shit. But I wonder if the redactions, I don't know. Let's say it was like about the children. It was like really, really bad, and they just didn't want the public to know, maybe?
You've only seen what's been made public. You have no idea what else is in there or surrounds this. She still has a lot to say as far as it's concerned. I believe she does.
Oh, the sisters. I'd be pissed if my sisters should do this to my nephews.
Let's actually play that if we can, that moment where you're just talking about.
You only know what's been approved to share with the media. All of those blocked out spots in the journal, all of the journals that she had that didn't necessarily pertain to the criminal case, all of those.
So it didn't pertain to a criminal case, but what were they? She makes it sound like it's like super fucking bad. Oh no, yeah, the text messages. Bleh. Okay, you're right. They do have text messages. Ugh. The Chad and Lori text messages, the sexting. Oh God, ugh, get that out of my mind. I covered it, I think, over a year ago, and I know that that's been brought back again during Chad's trial, and I was like, I'm not revisiting that. No way. Please. I need to cleanse my mind of that fucking the sexting between awkward Chad and freaking Lori. You know, I feel like Jody's a narcissist who found too much easier targets in the Frankies. She seemed to drop the Hannah so quickly and began using the Frankies. Yeah, because like I'm looking forward to Paige Hannah's video because I want to know what exactly went down between her and Jody Hildebrand. Like, I know Kevin Frankie said that the Hannahs tried to bring Jody into another cult, and that he was told that she was being kidnapped, but then he also heard different things from the Hannahs that was nothing like what Jody said. So I want to know what happened. Did the Hannahs, did they try to secretly take over Connections and then maybe try to boot Ruby and Jody out, and then Jody found out? Did the Hannahs not, I don't know, maybe they were maybe Jody was trying to get them to do something. They're like, no, we're not doing this, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And then that's why Jody cut them out. Like, I don't know, it just seems like the cut was so abrupt. And then also during that time frame where Jody claims that she was kidnapped, well, she was still doing Connections workshops. She was still posting about Johnny and Paige Hannah on the Connections Instagram page. But then all of a sudden, it's like we don't see them anymore. And it's just all Ruby. And then, I don't know, it's like, so weird. That shit was insane. Oh, Storm, thank you so quickly. I appreciate that. Hi, Outcast. How are you doing today? Maybe it was like, doomsday related stuff. Are Mormons into the doomsday stuff? Do we talk about this? I think you guys said they do, right? They do a lot of like the doomsday prepping and all that, bunkers. Could be like crazy rambling that shows Ruby's mental state, maybe. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Paige did hint that she wanted to cut Jody loose from, because Paige made it seem like, Jody had no compassion towards the patients, towards the clients / patients. Ruby didn't really take the connections teachings and utilize them correctly. So it seemed like to me, maybe Paige wanted to maybe boot Jody and Ruby out of it. I don't know. And maybe that plot was found out or something like that. Bonnie gets a lot of traffic on the video she does about this matter, so her motives may be double-edged. I think she probably turned off monetization for videos where she's talking about her family. I think she probably mentioned in the beginning, like, oh, I don't make money off of this, blah, blah, blah. Like, she does get a lot of traffic, but it's not, like, good traffic, because she probably goes into the comments and then she sees there's a lot of hate directed towards her. Yeah. Food storage. Jody specifically was. I mean, Jody had, you see how much, we went through Jody's pantry, okay? Jody had so many boxes of Betty Crocker, like, cake, frosting. Like, it was just all, like I don't know, like... It was just all like snacks and cakes and all this stuff, like frostings, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, Betty Crocker vanilla, Betty Crocker chocolate thing. Like, it was just like, I don't know what the hell. Like, those women were eating well, okay? They were eating very fucking well. They had all the food up in there, all the frosting and everything. They all read the book Visions of Glory, which talked about the doomsday vision written by a Mormon. Visions of Glory. When was that written? Chad, Lori, Mormon, Corey Richards. But Corey Richards, was she like a practicing Mormon? Or was she just like a Mormon and she didn't really like, practice like Mormonism? Like, she didn't really go to like church or anything like that. This is what happens when you go to church instead of a therapist. Ruby and Jody clearly had issues of their own and they went to become abusers. Bonnie wants to come out and say they did everything they could and cry in front of the camera over it. Why didn't she come out in cameras like this and expose her sister before? I could see probably because she didn't want to come out and make her. This is assumptions here. I'm assuming she didn't know how bad the conditions were for. I don't think anyone knew how bad it was for E and R. Right? That's something between Jody and Ruby. Maybe Pam botched her. Maybe, but I don't think anyone knew about the conditions of E and R. Like, even like Sherri didn't know how bad it was, right? Kevin said he didn't know how bad it was. And I'm assuming the sisters didn't know how bad it was too. And things are probably getting really bad in the Frankie family. But if these women were to come out and say things, they probably didn't want it to look bad for like the children as well. Because if I was an aunt and I was like, let's say I knew things were bad, but I didn't know how bad it was. I came out and spoke about it and I didn't really have evidence to back it up. 1. And then 2, you're never going to get your sister back. She's going to fucking turn on you. And then 3, her kids will probably fucking turn on you too. So there's probably a lot of that going on. Like, for her, when she says like, oh, she tried everything she can, blah, blah, blah. She probably just didn't know how bad it was for E and R. She probably just knew that, the Jody lady is like batshit fucking crazy. Like, I am curious too. I am curious when she says she tried to do everything she can. Well, I want to know, what the fuck did she think was happening behind closed door? Was it just like, oh, I tried doing everything I could because, Ruby was isolating us from her kids. Ruby, does like food manipulation. Ruby takes the doors away. Like, I wonder when they said they try to do everything they can, like, what were they trying to do and why? What would have prompted them to try to do everything they can? Like, I feel like they would only try to do everything they can if they knew how bad it was for the children. It could be possible that Sherri was still in connections with her. So I don't want to say connections when I talk about this. Oh, it's possible that Sherri was still having a relationship with her aunts. And maybe Sherri was saying like, hey, like there's some weird stuff going on. Like, neighbors are calling me saying that my siblings are just kind of like out in the street. They're being unsupervised. Mom's been gone for hours of the day. So maybe that's what they knew, that extent. And I don't know, like when they said like, oh, we try to do everything we can in their statement. Well, I want to know specific, like, what did you try to do specifically and why? So I don't know. We don't really get any of those specifics. They could have anonymously called CPS to investigate. I don't know. My words are dirt. I think Bonnie said along the lines of, those aren't the parents of those kids. There is so much we can do within the law. Hey, Rhiannon, how are you doing today?
A fraction. A fraction.
Yeah, so that's quite the statement. And just to go back to give everybody a little context, so Ellie, she posted a video, I think in November, talking about the state of her mental health as well as the relationships with her own family following this arrest. And it was so interesting. She posted a video about a ring that her grandmother had given her that she took to a jeweler to replicate.
And I said, I want you to replicate the ring.
Oh, wait, no, she's the youngest one, right? Wait, hold on. Ellie and Julie look so similar. She looks like Julie. Hold on a second.
And so he replicated it just like my grandma's ring, but he left it so it's easy to size. And I had a ring made for me, Bonnie, Julie, and my mom. And when my mom gets back from her mission, she will be able to have it. And we will have matching rings.
Yeah, you notice she mentions her mom, her sisters, Julie and Bonnie, but not Ruby. And then you mentioned Bonnie, as you said, is the most frequent to post in October.
So I was looking at Sherri's Instagram, and she posted a Mother's Day thing. This is like, what, a couple months before they discovered the children. It's like, happy Mother's Day to these amazing women. And her aunts are here. So I'm assuming, you know, good relationship with the aunts, maybe. Maybe she was still keeping, maybe the aunts were still keeping tabs on the children through Sherri because, you know, at this point, Ruby probably cut them all out. And then aunt, is that grandmother? Aunt? I don't know who that is. Maybe an aunt? Is that Ruby? I don't know. Maybe it's Ruby, but it just seems like it's mostly centered at her family members, not Ruby. And this was a couple months before. So, you know, we all know that, like, you know, Sherri was estranged from her family, but she does this Happy Mother's Day post, and it's mostly just like centered to her aunts. I'm sure they take lots of family photos. I'm sure it's not the case where it's like, oh, Sherri just couldn't find a picture where it had her aunts and her mom in it, right? Usually when you do a Happy Mother's Day post, you're like dedicating it to your mom. But at this point, it seems like, you know, no relationship with mom, but relationship with the aunts. So it's possible that the aunts maybe tried to like figure out, hey, what's going on with Ruby? What's going on with our sister? You know, what's going on with your younger siblings? And then Sherri just like didn't, you know, maybe try to fill them in on like the whole DCFS situation, how like she tried calling them, nothing happened, blah, blah, blah. So maybe that's like the extent of what the aunts knew. But with the E and R, I just don't think that, it seems like no one knew about it. But, you know, I was thinking maybe Pam Bochner, but, you know, maybe not because Pam is 3.5 hours away, but I don't know. All right, let's go back to this really quick.
She talked about how her children didn't get to have meaningful relationships with their cousins, but maybe one day down the line they can.
It was a loss for my children, and so that...
Are they strict too? They're weird and they're strict?
That took a lot of time to come to terms with, and years later, that sounds so wild to say, but years later, you know, they still bring it up, and, you know, when are we going to get to see them? When do we get to know them again? And I had just let them know so that they had some sort of expectation. I just said, when they're 18, when you're 18, you'll be able to reach out and you'll be able to see if you can form a relationship then.
And on her Instagram page, Bonnie posted this following the February sentencing: a world full of distractions, and I only have eyes for them. Satan himself could not come close to making me harm them. This is about her own children. And then a few days later, on March 1st, Bonnie posted a video with the caption, "This was the day my sister was sentenced. I thought I would feel more closure. I didn't. It only added to my frustration. I will take this as a massive blessing and a sign that God is in control. He knows me and was acknowledging me." Yeah, her pain is very, 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 very palpable. And yes, we might see a little bit more. But I want to end this discussion, Brian, with Kevin Franke.
One of the sisters posted videos of her daughter potty training and show the world her 2-year-old's underwear. I don't know. Stuff like that, like, so so weird. I don't know. It's like, you know how in our day and age, right? Our embarrassment would be like, oh, when you bring your significant other over to your family's house and then there's pictures of you as a baby, you know, butt naked, or like you go to the family album, there's pictures of you like, you know, like doing embarrassing stuff, right? But it's not really embarrassing. It's like natural stuff, but like you don't really want people to see it. But the fact that like these people are just having like the world see it, that to me is just like so weird. It's like, weren't you guys embarrassed when people were when your parents would show like pictures of you when you were a kid and stuff like that? Like, I don't know. But now we have a generation of, you know, these like family YouTubers or these like mommy influencers, vloggers, where they're just like showing their kids, you know, like, I don't know, like showing them something. Sometimes they show the kids like naked on their Instagram, or like, you know, like with the potty training thing, or like when their kids gets like their period for the first time, and that's like on their YouTube channel. Like, that's just like so, I don't know. That to me just shows like you're just more focused on yourself and the views and the likes, the comments than you are with your kids. I don't know. That to me is like weird. There's this cooking channel that I used to love watching. And I love watching it because the mom would cook. And she was like a stay-at-home mom. She had a 2-year-old, or I think like a 1-year-old daughter. And so of course the 1-year-old daughter would be like part of the video too, right? Because like, you know, the mom's like trying to cook, but she's also trying to keep an eye on her 1-year-old. So sometimes she'll have the 1-year-old be like around the camera or like kind of like sitting next to her. But I think the mom realized what a centerpiece her daughter is. So now her daughter is like the main part of her video. It's not just like her cooking anymore and taking care of her daughter. It's like her daughter does the cooking and all that cute stuff. But like now her daughter has to be on all the thumbnails. The daughter has to be like in like mostly in all the videos. Otherwise she probably won't get as much views. I don't know. That to me is just like kind of sad. It's like, yeah, it's like your daughter's really cute. We love her and all that stuff. But now she has to shift and make her daughter like the focus of all the videos because that's what's making her money. I don't know. Stuff like that where I'm just like, like, you know, like your daughter's really cute and stuff like that. Like there's reasons why people are watching it, but I don't know. Now her daughter's just like the main focus, and I'm just like, you know, I don't know.
Frankie. So Ruby's estranged husband.
You used to watch the Shaytards? I've never heard of them before. Yeah, and the pedals. Like for me, I'm always thinking about the pedal stuff, man. I'm always thinking about like there are creepers out there you never fucking know. Like I don't know. Like but to me, it's because of like, you know, my experiences shape who I am. There are people out there who probably never dealt with like, I don't know, like fucking really weird, creepy people. And so they think the world is safe, which is like a good way to view the world. But for me, I'm always like, I don't know, man. There's like weirdos out there. You got to be fucking careful, all right? You never know. They might be popping out of the woodwork.
For divorce, not long after arrest, has filed a lawsuit against Jody Hildebrand for abusing his children. So we're hearing a bit more of his side of the story through his legal action. Kevin has never been charged with anything in connection with this case. He has said time and time again that he was away from his entire family for more than a year.
Wait, their family YouTube channel name is Shaytards? Or is it just like a couple? Or is it like a couple with like children? Oh my God. Is that really their last name, or did they decide to just call themselves the Shaytards? Because I feel like, you know, if their kids have any classmates, they're just gonna be called a Shaytard.
Contact at all.
Ugh.
But in the legal complaint that Kevin's lawyer Randy Kester filed, it states, quote, neither defendant nor Ruby Frankie advised plaintiff, meaning him, of the removal of the children from the family home in Springville, Utah. The defendant.
All right, yeah, Kevin's filing a lawsuit. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, let's shift on over to more positive stuff, I guess. I want to listen to this podcast with you guys. I started listening to it a little bit, and I was like, you know what? Let's just listen to it together, because I wasn't sure if Sherri was going to talk about, you know, her life growing up, you know, how her family was and all that. But she kind of does talk about it. I think we'll listen to the beginning of it, and I haven't listened to the rest of the podcast yet, so maybe we'll cut off early. But I want to start listening to it, and it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of nice to hear from Sherri. This was it came out about a couple weeks ago, April 5th. No, it's a family YouTube from back in the day. They chose the name Shaytards? No! Oh my God, I feel like the kids probably got bullied so much. Why did they choose that name? So Kevin is divorcing, or is that he divorced Ruby? But it seems like he still loves her. I'm so confused. Hello, Dom. How are you doing today? I mean, it's my understanding, maybe in the state of Utah, it's different, but usually it's like you file for divorce, right? But you have to be separated for a year before it can like officially be filed. I'm just assuming that he probably still loves his wife, but he's divorcing Ruby because the optics are better for him. One, it looks better to the public. Two, it looks better probably towards his adult children. And three, it will definitely look better when he's trying to fight for custody of the 4 other children. So, yeah. I watched that channel when I was younger. Now I'm ashamed admitting it. It's okay. It's all right. I've never heard of them before, though. Were they like one of the first of the family YouTube vloggers from back in the day? All right, y'all. So I can't normally, you know, when I listen to stuff like this, I like to speed it up, but we can't speed it up. We cannot speed it up. We're going to listen to, it's called Into the Light. It seems like it is a religious podcast. I don't know if they're like solely Mormon podcasts. Maybe they are. I'm assuming they are. there are laws from like financially benefiting from your own crime. So I think Kevin's divorcing. He can profit from all this. Netflix, Jody lawsuit, blah, blah, blah. And they get back with Ruby afterwards. Yeah, maybe. All right. So I got up to 7 minutes. I hope you guys can hear the audio. How's the audio?
Hey y'all, welcome back to Into the Light. We have a special guest on our podcast today. Her name is Sherri Frankie, and I'm gonna let Aaron introduce her to us.
Boy, do we have an episode for you guys today. We were just having a conversation off mic with Sherri, and wow, we have so many things that we could talk about. We're going to keep this very gospel focused and gospel oriented and talk about the Savior, as we always do. But Sherri is someone that we've come to know. She lives nearby and is a part of our ward and is an awesome member of our ward.
I wish. I can't. There's no ×2 1.5. You know I love speeding things up, but I can't.
A great friend of ours. So thanks for coming on, Sherri.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Wait, are they on YouTube? Hold on a second. Listen on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts.
We're really excited about this. Sherri is one of the most happy people ever.
Oh gosh.
She comes to church. She has a smile on her face, and I'm like, gosh, I want some of what she has. And I don't know what it is.
Yeah, Sherri definitely looks like a smiley. You know, there are some people that just smile all the time. Sherri definitely seems like one of those people.
She does have she has an awesome smile.
Oh,
she has been a part of the 8 Passengers YouTube channel in the past.
Oh yes, and she talks about how weird it was when her mom started bringing the camera everywhere.
Has a couple million subscribers, and she has her own YouTube channel. Follow her at Sherri Frankie.
Yeah, she's not really active on her YouTube channel anymore. I think I looked it up, and the last time she posted was I don't know, maybe over a year ago.
Thank you for the shout out.
Is it the same on your Instagram, same handle?
It's official Sherri Frankie, I think.
At official Sherri Frankie. Okay. You could be one of her hundreds of thousands of subscribers.
Yeah. And Sherri goes to BYU studying political science.
Poli-sci.
Yeah, we were
most
getting into
interesting
that
major.
too.
Is BYU is that considered a private university? I wonder what the tuition is for BYU.
In the world, if you ask me.
It's fascinating.
It's fascinating. Scary.
Except for psychology.
Really?
Poli-sci is a close second.
What about?
True.
Chemistry rules the world,
No.
so.
Oh, she's studying poli-sci.
But yeah, let's get into it. Let's jump in. So Sherri's gonna. We're gonna lead this conversation, but we're gonna go wherever.
It's a private uni, but if you're in state, it's probably still cheaper, right? Because a lot of Mormons are in Utah, and then BYU is in Utah, right?
Where Sherri feels like is best to talk about. So we always start out by talking about childhood and kind of how you grew up, your family life from as far back as you remember, as far back as you want to go, just kind of how you were raised.
Okay.
And how was the gospel oriented?
Yeah.
Oh man, their audio is kind of funky. The guy speaks really soft. The woman is way louder. Oh my god, sorry, the audio is kind of all over the place. No.
In your childhood, yeah.
Okay, so I am the oldest of 6 kids, and I was raised in Springville. I feel like
Springville.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was raised in Springville. Oldest child. The church was always we were very active growing up. We went to church on Sundays. When FHE was still I don't know, when the church was more doing family home evenings, we'd always
What's FHE?
do family home evenings. We had a little song we would sing.
FHE, family home evenings.
We made up some family home evening song that we would all sing, and it was great. We'd always try to read the scriptures together. With a big family, it was hard because either wake up really early or you read really late at night. But we were always conscious about it and tried to do it. Didn't always happen, but we tried. We prayed before meals. So yeah, we were all very active in the church, loved the church. Pretty typical Utah family, I'd say.
Yeah, heck yeah. So what about you personally growing up? Were you
Oh, it sounds like at home Bible study. Gotcha.
How was your relationship?
Oh my gosh, I remember Bible study. I would have friends that would have to have Bible study. And I remember it was like, oh, can you come outside and play? No, I have Bible study. Like, oh, Bible study.
With the gospel, with God, like, did you have a close relationship? Or was it kind of just like, oh, my parents do this, my family does this? Like, how was that?
Yeah,
dynamic?
so I think I've always loved the gospel. When I was like 8, for some reason, I got like really obsessed with Joseph Smith and just read every book on him that I could because I was just like fascinated by it.
I always thought so I learned a lot about this from this podcast, but I always thought gospel was just music. I thought it was like gospel was just like the music that you sing. I don't know anything about religion.
But I also realized, like, thinking back on it now, when I was like 5 or 6, I was scared to go to hell. Like, I don't know where that fear came from, but
it probably came from your parents telling you, if you don't do what God tells you, you're gonna go to hell. I don't know. That's what I'm assuming, because that's crazy to me. Like, if you're 5 or 6 years old, you're like really scared of going to hell. That's scary. The gospel is the Bible. Oh, okay. I was born in Utah, but my family was oil field. They were not Mormon. Did you go to a school and you're like surrounded by Mormons? Or are Mormons only in like specific areas of like Utah? Hello, listening to the background while driving. Drive safe, Lemon Baked. How are you doing today? Thanks for popping on in. Earlier, we covered Brian Kohberger's Alibi. We talked about the Apple River stabbing. We had 2 members of the jurors come out and speak about the deliberation. We talked about Sherri Frankie and his Twitch stream a little bit, and then talked about the rest of Ruby Frankie's family, like her siblings and stuff. And yeah, now we're listening to Shari Frankie. She's on this podcast right now called Into the Light.
I was like, I'm so scared I'm going to be damned. And I think that like Carrie just like fascinated by it. But I also realized, like, thinking back on it now, when I was like 5 or 6, I was scared to go to hell. Like, I don't know where that fear came from, but I was like, I'm so scared I'm going to be damned. And I think that like carried into my teenage years. So I was always worried about like wanting God to be happy with me. Yeah.
When you guys were 5 and 6 years old, what were you guys scared of? I had this irrational fear of volcanoes. I would have dreams where, because when I was young, my mom would watch all these like fucking movies. Okay, she like loved horror movies. She loved like thrillers. And there's this movie that we watch, and it was called Dante's Peak with Pierce Brosnan. And I remember being at my old house that we were at, and I would be so fucking terrified that I would wake up and a volcano would erupt. I didn't even live in fucking Hawaii, okay? I lived in fucking East Coast. There's no fucking volcanoes over there, but I was so fucking scared of volcanoes. And I remember thinking that like, okay, well, if there's a volcano that erupts, I have my mattress here. I'm just going to float on the volcano lava on my mattress, and I should be fine. Because there's this one scene in Dante's Peak where the grandmother, they're like all stuck on this like fucking boat, and the water's getting really hot. It's about to sink, but they can't get to shore quick enough. So the grandmother gets out of there and she starts pushing them. But as she's pushing them, she's like fucking getting scolded and burned. And she's like done pushing them, and you can see all the burns on her legs, and like she dies, and it was so fucking scary. So I remember I was like so fucking scared of fucking volcanoes. At 5 or 6, I was afraid of the dark, and my dad yelling at me or hitting me if I did something wrong. I don't know if I was ever scared of my parents hitting me. Like when they hit me, it fucking hurt and it was bad. But I don't know. For some reason, I was never really super scared of that. Like I took the fucking pain. I was just like, yeah, fucking hit me. I don't know. It sucked though when the hangers would come out or when the wooden spoon would come out. Yeah, that fucking sucked. But I don't know. For some reason, I don't know if I was like super scared of like getting hit, because I was so focused on being defiant and getting what I wanted that getting hit was like nothing if I got what I want at the end of the day. But I was scared of volcanoes, and you were scared of aliens? I remember watching a doc about a world ending in 2012. Oh my god, wait. 2000, yeah, I remember wasn't there a movie that came out where it was like the world ends in 2012 for some reason? You were scared of fire and drowning. I guess wait, what made you scared of fire and being and drowning, I guess? Oh, Pierce Brosnan broke his arm in that movie. His bone was sticking out and shit. Wait, really? You're Gen X. It was a thing. LOL, the belt. And my dad was a drunk. It was scary. Yeah, my mom's boyfriend is a drunk, or he probably still is, you know. But it was never like, I don't know. It's one of those things where you just got used to it. So we weren't scared of the drunkenness, the destroying of the house, the notes. It was like, we're just used to it. And it was just like so bad. You should never be used to like fucking parents being drunks and like being crazy and shit. Yeah, like I think for us, we're just used to it. It was more like, but I guess when I was a teenager, it's like, you're still kind of like, you're used to it, but you're still jumpy. Cause I remember, my parents, they worked in the restaurant industry and they would get home late on the weekends. And sometimes he would come back home like drunk as fuck. I don't know where the fuck he would get drunk, like maybe in the car or something like that. And sometimes when he would get home, if there was something that would set him off, he would just start yelling and screaming for no fucking reason. Okay. It was like for dumbest fucking things ever. But yeah, maybe in my teenage, I was more kind of like jumpy about stuff like that. But wooden spoons, many broken. Lol. I was afraid of ghosts and spirits. Yeah, because in Thailand, the relatives would always talk about ghosts and stuff like, oh, if you're not a good kid, the ghost is going to come get you. Like, I don't know, people who do that, like, it's like so fucking weird, like scaring kids into shit like that. That was just horrible. It was like nightmares and everything. Yeah, I was scared of volcanoes and I was scared of fucking ghost. Hi, Russian Aloha. How are you doing today? How's it going? All right, back to the podcast.
I know you just said you don't know where that came from, but if you had to take a guess, where do you think that fear came from?
Oh man,
my parents, maybe.
I think maybe part of it was just like my perfectionist mentality as like an oldest child.
You felt like there was a lot of pressure.
Yeah, horror movies. I was also scared of Chucky, the doll. Oh my god.
On you.
Yeah, and I probably put up most of that on myself, but I always just wanted to be like perfect in every way, and that applied spiritually as well.
That's hard.
Jeez.
That's really hard.
So do you feel like, did you live the quote unquote ideal like Mormon upbringing?
I feel like I did. Yeah, like we went to church on Sundays, FHE. Like we did sports, extracurricular stuff, like had family dinners together. Like it was really chill.
Yeah.
Like
all
we
the
were,
normal things.
yeah.
And you grew up here in Utah. I always forget that. But your like friends were all Mormon and sorry members. Yeah.
It must be so hard for her to talk about her family and not bring up like the dark side of her family. Like it must feel weird to have to talk about her childhood and stuff like that, because like sometimes like, when you're talking about your family, your childhood, you just kind of want to focus on like the positives and you don't really want to get into like the nitty gritty, the dark stuff in a podcast, because then you kind of have to like start explaining more and more into it. So it must be really hard for her to have to talk about her family and then just make it seem like, oh yeah, it was just pretty chill. Except sometimes I'm a little bit crazy, You were afraid of cows. I grew up in the dairy farm. Oh, my neighbor got kicked in the head and died. Listen, that was the thing too. I heard about people getting kicked in the head by like farm animals. Jesus, and they died. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, my grandma has those dolls. Oh yeah, I was scared of dolls too. There's this movie we watched. I went to a sleepover. This was in 4th grade. I don't know why. I think it's because Asian parents tend to like not really care about what their kids watch. But I went over to my friend's sleepover party. Her mom's Korean. And the kids, all of us were like, hey, let's choose this movie. It's called Dolls. It was the scariest fucking shit ever. I don't know why a bunch of 4th graders chose this movie called Dolls. It was like definitely not kid content. There was blood. There was sex. There was like some scenes, some torture. Like, I don't know. We were watching that and I remember being so scared. I was like, oh my God, like this is the scariest thing ever. Oh, yikes. You're doing some spring cleaning today? Oh, I got to do spring cleaning with my yard. The weeds are back again. Ugh. Your mom, she's been gone for about like 4 weeks, had internal bleeding. Oh no, but now she's better. Internal bleeding. Ouch. Your birthday's, that's the best birthday ever, Halloween. So I was afraid something bad would happen on it. Oh no. Yeah, there was this neighborhood lore about if you looked at the moon on Halloween, the man from the moon will come down and he will kidnap you. So I remember when we were kids trick-or-treating, we're like, don't look at the moon, don't look at the moon. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I was deathly afraid of Bloody Mary and Candyman. Oh my goodness. I remember, because I'm the type of person who's like really impulsive. If you go to the bathroom, you're not supposed to look in the mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times or like the Candyman. I remember every time I go to the bathroom, I'm like, don't look in the mirror, don't look in the mirror, don't say it, don't say it. And like, I would always be so impulsive and like want to say it. That would scare the crap out of me every time I went to the bathroom. Oh, you almost drowned? Oh, dude. Yeah, I remember my babysitter pushed me into the pool and I didn't know how to swim. Fuck her. You were zipped up in a suitcase? Oh, wait, you were the one who told me that last time, right? Jesus. Damn, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Honestly, it's probably cathartic. She can talk about it and people can understand now. But it's like she has to give like a sanitized version of it, right? You watch Trick or Treat, way too young. The way Kevin talks about Sherri is disgusting. He hates her and even tried to press charges and failed. The cops totally owned him. That's all. Yeah, we saw that. The body cam footage with Kevin. I don't know what the fuck Kevin was doing, okay? I don't know. Candyman was scary. Yeah, Candyman was so scary with the hook, the bees and everything. Bloody Mary too. Oh my gosh. I remember I'd be so scared. You remind me of when you guys did Bloody Mary in elementary school? No way. The girl pretended to be possessed for the entire day. Maybe she really was possessed. Oh, yeah. Why did she push you? Because she was a teenage babysitter. Like, I don't know. Don't ever leave your kids with a teenage babysitter, okay? Because teenagers will hang out with other teenagers and they'll do shitty things, all right, to kids because they're trying to be cool to their friends. Like, she just fucking pushed me in. And I remember I was like crying and I was like, oh my God, I like drowned. She's like, you didn't drown. If you drowned, you would die. Because I didn't understand what the word drowning meant. I thought drowning just meant like, you got some water, like, like in your fucking air lungs or something. Your sister made you watch the Poltergeist? That was fucked up. Oh no. My mom would watch horror movies as I was falling asleep. So like there was a time when we didn't have our own rooms. We all slept in one like living room or something like that. And I remember I'm like trying to fall asleep, go to school the next day. It was like fucking like, I don't know, first grade or something like that or kindergarten. And my mom was like fucking watching Chucky. You know the opening scene of Chucky where like Chucky's in the factory and they're making him and they're melting the plastic. Like, oh God. Ugh. I remember she was just like casually just watching. I'm like, I have to go to sleep, bitch. Me and my cousin locked herself in my father's car. He was having fun, but I was literally hyperventilating. Oh my God. Wait, where in the car? Was like in the trunk or something? I could watch horror movies as a 5-6-year-old. I laughed through them. I couldn't, but when I got to 15, I couldn't watch them anymore. I hate them. I went through a phase where I couldn't watch horror movies like 3 years ago because I was like, you know what? I'm getting really bad nightmares. Why do I put myself through this? But now I actually can watch horror movies and I don't care. I don't know. I went through a phase where if I get sleep paralysis, I just like don't care anymore. I just go through it. I'm like, okay, we're good. But yeah, the sleep paralysis thing used to fuck me up a lot.
I'm not from Utah, so it's just such a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Okay.
How was it growing up being on camera all the time? 'Cause it's a lot, right?
Yeah, so I started being on camera. I should remember the exact age. I was like 12, maybe 13-ish.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. I thought it was strange at first, honestly. I was like, this is weird. Like, we take a camera with us everywhere. And
oh, was that like legit?
yeah, like we took a camera when we'd go on vacations. We'd film going to the store. We'd just like always kind of film everything.
And there are like mommy vloggers who are happy, peppy when the camera's on. But then when the moment the camera's off, it's like switch. They're back to like, their normal personality. I don't know. I feel like for kids, it's just like, must be so weird. Like say, for example, your mom's in a bad mood, but then she turns on the camera. She's like, okay, guys, today we're going to go to Target and we're going to shop some stuff for little Sherri here. And then the camera turns off. All right, you fucking kids, get in the fucking car right now. Like, I don't know. That's what I just imagine. I just feel so bad for kids who have to grow up with parents that are doing the family fucking vlogging YouTube thing. I'm sure there are good ones out there, but
but over the years, like I got used to it more. It's like, yeah, this is like our job. Like this is how we pay for vacations. This is how we get to do fun stuff. Like,
yeah, and the kids are probably like, oh, we have to be on these vlogs because that's how we get money to pay for all these things. Yes, Dora the Explorer. Yeah, Dora be like, so which one is yellow? Which one is yellow? Which one's fucking yellow? I don't know. Dora would be so crude when she's like asking you questions. She's like just stares at you, blinking at you. Answer the fucking question.
You don't love it every day, but you do it because it's work.
I recently saw a mom who has this mom and daughter channel and was caught on hot mic screaming at the daughter about amping up enthusiasm. Yeah. It's hilarious when I guess like, are they being outed by their editing? I remember there was this one woman. Oh my God, it was so bad. She was like filming a YouTube video, but she didn't realize that it was still filming. And she was like pissed at her dog for barking. So she starts like beating the dog. And then she goes back to the camera. oh, okay, guys, today we're gonna, and then she like gets up again and she starts like hitting the dog, and like it was like so bad. I don't know if like maybe she sent the footage to the editor and they were like, you know what, bitch, I'm keeping this shit in, or if she uploaded it and she didn't realize that it was in it or something. I don't know, but that was like, oh, that was so bad. I was a little bit traumatized from that. I couldn't imagine my parents filming us. They like barely took pictures of us. Yeah, thank God. We had some Polaroids, you know, we had some, or not Polaroids, we had some film cameras, we had some digital cameras, but like, I can't imagine having the camera just be in your fucking face, like filming all the time. Like we had some cameras like here and there, like Christmas presents, right? You're opening Christmas presents or filming you, whatever, who cares? But imagine having the camera pointing at you all the time. And then when you don't do or act the way your parents want you to, they're like, redo it again. Do it with more enthusiasm. I want you to cry more. I want you to make this thumbnail look good, okay? Like, oh, God. Yes, I remember that. She was punching. Yeah, she was spitting in the dog's face. Like, what is wrong with you? Hot mics, LOL, taking down people since 2 AA batteries and Walkmans were invented. Once you realize the family vlogging is fade and put their personal stuff online, it has to be embarrassing for the kids. Yeah, I think... there's just like one child YouTuber who recently came out about like all the shit that they had to go through with their mom. And then, fuck. And I think there's like more, because like a lot of these child YouTubers, what's happening? They're fucking growing up. They're entering adulthood and they're starting to realize, geez, that was kind of fucked up. Like, why did our parents put us through that? We didn't have to go through that. You know, a lot of them are aging now and a lot of them are coming out and they're exposing their parents for what they fucking went through. Huh? I got honored by my job on Wednesday and then on Thursday they told me they were laying me off in my last day on June 7th. I'm so beyond it. Wait, what? Did they... Dude, that fucking sucks. I'm sorry to hear about that. Did they give you like severance or anything at least? There's a video of a mom telling her kid to cry better for the camera. Yes, I've seen that one. Yeah, when the dog died. You're leaving? Yeah. Okay. Text me when you come back.
Where you going?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a video of a mom telling her kid to cry better for the camera. Yes, when the dog died. I watched that one too. The mom was upset, but she wanted to do, the kid was upset, but she wanted him to do more for the camera. Yeah, unfucking believable. Because it makes a good thumbnail and people will click on it and then they get the monies. Ugh. Oh, your mama was a good mama. I'm so blessed to have her. That's why I take care of her full time. Your dad's an ass though, but he's not around. So, at least you got your mom.
But even still to this day, I get embarrassed to go out and like film in public, even though I've been doing it for like 8 years.
Yeah. Filming in public is not natural.
I'm like hiding the camera on my stomach, and it's
Dude, when I film in my car, I'm embarrassed, and I have tinted windows. Can't imagine in person or like out in the public. Did that ever get hard? Like being in the limelight all the time?
Yeah, it got hard, especially
growing up.
Yeah, growing up. I mean, junior high phase. Just, I don't think it was great for anybody.
Yeah, and then imagine like, because their channel was growing so quickly and it was like super niche, Mormon mom influencers. And where a lot of the Mormons are at, they're in Utah. So she probably had a lot of her peers that knew about her channel, her mom's channel, and they probably tuned in. I don't know, just having all that out there just gives more content for other kids to just possibly bully you with, make fun of you for. I don't know. Middle school, junior high, that's fucking tough. Like all your shit's just like out there. While there could be some kids who are like, oh my God, it's so cool. Like you're a famous YouTuber, blah, blah, your mom. But like, you know, there are kids out there that also are not so pleasant and they can use that material as ways to bully you. Like, I don't know. That's just like, ugh, that's too much. I wouldn't want kids in my class to know every fucking thing that my parents are doing and my siblings are doing and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Oh, no. I would not want my
terrible.
life on camera.
Yeah. And then I feel like as I got older, people got like meaner in the comments. They would say things like, oh, she's just a Molly Mormon. Like, she's just going to grow up, become a baby-making machine. Like,
wow. Oh, my God.
What? Why did the rent go 1K? What the hell? Did you get, like, a bigger place or something like that? Holy shit. Hey, CMB. You know, they, so my apartment that we had a really good deal because of the pandemic. And bro, they tried raising our rent too, okay? They're like, okay, well, you know what? Now that the pandemic's over, the market rate for your apartment, I think they like upped it by like $1,400. Like, no, bye, peace. Holy shit. Junior high was vicious, plus in like the age of chemistry, biology, extra reason to be bullied. Most kids who are stars or Hollywood actors are bullied more often than not. I could totally see that. And also jealousy could be a huge factor as well. If kids are jealous of you because they're like, oh my God, you're a big YouTuber, blah, 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 they can start hating on you and start bullying the fuck out of you.
She's a member of the church. And so there was a lot of attack on
At
religion.
13.
Yeah. So that like there was a lot of attack on religion. People made fun of me because like I took school seriously and they were like, she needs a life, and which like I agree.
Oh, I feel bad. I remember there was this one girl in our class. Her name was Karen, and she was like the sweetest, nicest girl ever. But I remember we all made fun of her because she was super fucking studious. Okay, like during lunchtime, she wouldn't eat. She'd be like, "Okay, guys, I'm going to the library. I'm going to go study." And I feel so bad. She's like super nice. She's doing well though.
I did need a life besides school, but
yeah, but it was not hopeful. You had like bully, like people have like the typical bully and like the person making fun of you at school. Strangers who are grown adults.
Yeah.
How did that affect you as a young kid?
I found myself.
Actually, could you get out your lease because now your employment is like rocky? Would that be in your lease agreement? I mean, I guess the other scenario is like some places will do like if you want to get out of your lease agreement early, you have to pay like a month or 2 months worth of rent in order to get out. I think my sister did like 1 month of rent in order to get out of hers. But some places it's like 2 months worth of rent. It's like, oh my God. I remember when I was in... No, I was actually done with college. I was done with college and we had to move out of we like just renewed our lease, but then we were like, oh shit, we're not staying here anymore. We had to move on to another place. We were able to find someone to take over our lease without us having to pay a penalty. So we had someone take over our lease, but we did pay the person like maybe like $500 to take over our lease. Maybe that could be an option that you can do as well. Oh, is this like a private company or is it, or is it like a landlord? Maybe you can talk to them, you know, if you have a good relationship with them. But if it's like some sort of like company where, they don't give a fuck. They ain't give a shit.
Like I would tell myself, it doesn't matter what they say. Like I know how I feel about myself. And I think I believed that for a while.
Yeah.
But I always would find myself just like checking comments on Instagram, on YouTube, just to see what people had said about me.
Yeah.
Whether it be good or bad, you feel like it was okay.
Because I just wanted to like be aware.
Time to go live in the swamp with Maddie?
Of what people were saying, I guess. And that probably got to like an unhealthy point where I was just checking all the time. And even through college, sometimes I've had to just like check and check and check. And
really?
Yeah. So luckily I'm like breaking that habit, which is nice.
Hats
but
off. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I just think about how in middle school, like Instagram and Snapchat and like all those things were very much like, oh, this is like the cool thing to do.
Oh yeah,
but
like the dog filters.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So this really tells me how young some of these people on the podcast are. When I was in middle school, I think Zanga became a thing when I was in 8th grade. But 6th grade, 7th grade, no social media. It was just like, oh, like, do we even have AIM? I think AIM was like becoming a thing during that time. It's like AIM, the chat rooms. You would have you would have like AIM and you would talk to people. And I remember when I was in middle school, some motherfucker, I don't know which kid, discovered 3-way calling for the first time, flash calling. You would hit the flash button on your phone and then you could add another person in and another person in and another person in. But back in those days, when you would add people to your phone calls, it cost fucking money. So we thought it'd be really fun to do like these like 8-way calls, just randomly just call a bunch of people like, hey, so Harrison, what are you doing today? No, nothing, just hanging out. Oh, wait, you know what? Let's call Lisa. Let's add her to the line. Okay, let's call Lisa. Hey, Lisa, what's up? I got Harrison here. What are you up to? Oh, cool. Do you want to add Jerry into it? Okay, yeah, let's call Jerry too. So we would just have these like phone calls where we just added a bunch of people and just like talked about nothing. And then our fucking parents found out and was like, what are these fucking phone bills? And just totally go off. And I remember we were not allowed to do flash calls anymore, but it was really fun back then. I don't know. I feel like being a child back then was just like, it was just so fun and innocent, you know? Like the most trouble you can get is, well, actually, no, you probably could have gotten kidnapped and stuff because our parents barely watched us. But back in those days, it was like, you know, you would just do like fun, innocent things. Like you would just like prank call people. You would get into the like group calls. You would do AIM stuff. Like, you know, those were just like fun stuff, you know, or like play like Neopets or something. But nowadays, goddamn, with social media, I don't know. I feel like if I had social media when I was in middle school, that would mind fuck me so hard. And in high school, I would just think I was just like so fucking ugly. Like we already had magazines, you know, where like you had people that you looked up to, but like the social media thing just like brings it up to like a whole different fucking game. Oh my God. Yeah, no smart apps. Yeah, the cell phones. We didn't get cell phones until, I don't know, I think I had a cell phone maybe in 8th grade, but it was like, I never even used cell phones. Like in middle school, like high school, I barely even used my cell phone too. I remember when I went to the Philippines, I lost my cell phone for 2 weeks and I didn't realize it until 2 weeks later. And someone in the Philippines read on my phone, but it's like $8,000. Oh God, fuck AIM. Or it's not AIM, fuck AT&T. They would not waive that. It was so bad. Kids still prank phone calls. Got a couple of them at your old job at the restaurant. The prank phone calls are funny. I remember we had some prank phone calls too at where was I working at? But you could tell they're kids and they're just like laughing. They're just like fucking stupid, you know. You miss my Zynga? Is Zynga still up? Remember there was like Zynga, Asian Avenue. No smartphones till you're in high school. Because when smartphones, I mean, what's considered a smartphone? What smartphone is like iPhone, right? I don't know if the Blackberries, were they considered like smartphones or the Sidekicks? Because iPhone 1 came out after I graduated high school.
And it was like, oh, it's like social media.
Oh, ICQ. Yeah, who used ICQ anyways? I remember downloading it. I'm like, who uses this? It was like green and like gray, right?
Right,
Yeah.
but like you were in social media versus watching it from like a middle schooler's perspective.
You were a quote unquote influencer before influencers were really a thing.
Pretty cool.
You are cool, Sherry.
The kid was like, do you serve poop? Nah, you should have been like, no, you got to call Amber Heard for that. Yeah, MySpace was so cool because you can customize your page. You can add your music. You can add your top 8s. I remember my top 8s were people that I wasn't even close with. I remember I added, in my top 8s, I added like pretty girls that I wasn't friends with. But then the weird part is that sometimes they would add me back as their top 8. You know? So I don't know if it was like a guilt thing where it's like, I have you in my top 8. Will you put me in your top 8?
I love talking with you. Okay, so growing up, you were very active. Your own personal relationship with God was pretty strong, you would say. And then you graduate high school, and then you go to BYU.
Yep.
Okay.
So how did you feel like...
Do her parents pay for her BYU education? I'm assuming they do, right?
Because I think it's a pretty natural thing for everybody when you're young to have a pretty immature... I don't know if immature is the right word, but just like an undeveloped sense of who God is, what your relationship to him looks like.
Yeah.
What did the...
Oh, yeah. I don't know how teens navigate that. Back then, it's like you were allowed to grow up and make fucking mistakes. Nowadays, it's like, I don't know, man. There's this one person, this one that I remember. I think there was a girl in high school who said some things. Like she was like in fucking like 10th grade or something. And then they canceled her like 10 years later. Like she got a job and then I don't know, one of her classmates was like gung-ho and canceling her because, you know, I guess they were bullied by her and they fucking remembered. And she got a job and then she ended up getting fired from that job because of what she said in fucking high school. I'm like, dude, in fucking high school, come on. Like, you should be allowed to make mistakes and fucking grow up, you know? I feel like if you're a teenager and you have to be so careful about what you say and do, it's like, I don't know, it's a little bit silly. As long as not like murdering people, okay, that's a totally different thing. Or like fucking torturing animals, like, that's a little bit different thing. But I mean, like for saying stupid shit, like teenagers, they say stupid shit, okay? People in their 20s say stupid shit, early 20s say stupid shit. But anyways, that might have just been like a super special case. I don't know if that's like still a thing.
Journey to
cancel people like that.
Journey look like for you?
Yeah. So like I said, like very young, I I knew God loved me and I loved him, but I was like,
My buddy hacked into my MySpace and put that I was a big lesbian and locked me out. It was pretty funny. I'm not gay, by the way.
scared of him.
Wait, what was your password? Was it just password or was it MySpace? Was MySpace your password? How did your buddy hack into your MySpace?
I was like, he could strike me down with a lightning bolt. He could, yeah. So I said my prayers, but viewed him as like a separate entity that was like, one day, like I'll be able to get to that point where
Wait, how old were they? Knew someone who couldn't work with kids because they punched a child when they were a child? They were the same. How old were they?
can talk with him and know him. And
yeah.
And then, yeah, junior high, I kind of, junior high, I kind of started to like read the scriptures a little bit more.
Junior high is middle school,
When I got to
right?
high school, I switched to a private school, and was around better influences, I think. And the teachers were able to bring the gospel into lessons. And so that really just like cultivated a sense of, like, it made me excited to study the gospel. And then as I would read the scriptures, I would find myself, especially, I mean, when everything with my family started happening, and we can talk about that later, I would find myself wanting to believe, like, God is kind and merciful.
Yeah. Oh, is she talking about, like, maybe her estrangement from the family, maybe?
But then I'd say, well, that's just, like, the sinful part of me that's lying to myself, trying to make me feel like I'm okay, but I'm actually not. So, like, I would have those thoughts, like, no, like, maybe God is actually good and kind. And then I'd be like, no, I'm just lying to myself. That's not how it is. Because I'm going to... If I believe that, then I'll become complacent and I'll mess up. And so...
Hey, Spring Thunder. 13 to 14 years old. It's crazy. His slate wasn't wiped clean as an adult. Nah, they must have did something like super severe. Usually, they'll expunge your record. I don't know. Maybe some weird shit happened. I don't know. Maybe they didn't tell you the whole story. That's weird. Huh.
See, that's interesting because as missionaries, the first principle we teach is God is our loving Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
And He's a dad who loves you.
Yeah.
And wants the best for you. And obviously wants to protect you. And the way He does that is through commandments. And so it's
the story you're talking about is the one that I remember. She worked with special needs children. No, it wasn't that one. But I have heard about this trend on TikTok and YouTube about your high school bully being a nurse now. It's like, so what? High school is like so different than your adulthood, you know? Like, yeah, I'm sure, you know, if you were bullied by them, it really fucking sucked. And you probably do remember because it was traumatizing. But someone bullying someone in high school and then them maturing out of that and then wanting to be a caretaker, like a nurse or something like that. Like, oh, isn't that good? Don't you want them to change and grow? Unless they haven't changed. Unless they just wanted to be a nurse to, I don't know, abuse people. I mean, that's like, I feel like the case for that would be like kind of slim.
interesting to see that that was not how you interpret it in your head.
Yeah.
And I'm under the personal belief that most spiritual
I agree.
and probably
Yeah.
emotional problems that we face in today's world come from a misunderstanding of who God is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
A misunderstanding
And His character. Yeah.
Exactly. How do you... I just had an awesome question and it just completely left me. Oh, I was going to say, I think what you said reminded me of like the difference between complacency and contentment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can be content with who you are. You can be content that God loves you no matter what, while also not being complacent. 'Cause
Right.
being complacent, like the apathy isn't something that we want.
Exactly.
But you want to be content with who you are at the same
Interesting.
time, right? So on the Into the Light podcast, as you know, we talk a lot about trials and things that people have overcome. So you've had your fair share of trials in your life. When did all that start and how has it affected you?
Yeah, so when I was in 10th grade, so I was like 15, my family joined a group, like a mental health kind of like a self.
Oh, Connections. Oh, wait. Did they join Connections when she was that young? Or is this something else? Hold on, it could be something else.
Help group, basically. Because we wanted to, grow closer as a family. We wanted each of us individually to become more, like, self-sufficient and...
Growth-oriented.
Like, growth-oriented. And so we started in this group, and like, it was great at first. Like, we were learning like a new.
Oh, it could be connections because I think Chad. When did Chad start seeing Jody as a therapist? Wasn't that in 20? Why am I thinking 2019, 2018? Right?
Like learning lingo for stuff, and we were able to communicate in ways that we understood each other. And then, you know, when we interact with other people and we'd use the same language, like they were very confused. They were like, I don't understand what you're saying. And so in a sense, I feel like that brought us closer as a family because we knew what the other person, how they thought. We knew like how we could communicate with each other. And then as like the years progressed, this group became more extreme, and
connections.
They began to equate like their curriculum and their teachings kind of with the gospel in a sense.
So at first it wasn't with the gospel.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I never remembered that. Maybe they said it and I just forgot it.
Yeah.
But
when do you feel like, what was the thing that made you become more aware that they were equating it?
I think when they started like talking about God while they were also talking about their same curriculum and stuff.
Self-help, growth.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so I was like, oh, well, the gospel and this go together. Like if I live this curriculum well, then I'll be a better church member, and vice versa. So,
and that's probably, you know, I'm assuming she's talking about connections, and that's probably how Jody got so many people to eat this shit up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I think we should throw a disclaimer out there that life coaching is a very controversial space right now in the mental health field.
Yes.
Because
there's low accountability.
There's very low accountability. You don't need a license to become, like, there's no state certification for life coaching. And so you have to be very, very, very careful and research very deeply if you turn to life coaching in any sense, because literally anybody and their dog could become a life coach and say they're a quote unquote certified life coach.
Versus therapy, which is I don't know.
Like therapy counselors, you need a license, you need
a degree.
A couple different degrees.
Yeah.
A very intense licensure exam and tons
and
of
then you're also
hours.
under the board, like the Utah like Doppel, where it's like you can file a complaint, they can take away your license.
That's what happened to Jody.
Wow.
But
Get it
like
suspended, revoked.
Yeah.
Like,
interesting. Didn't know that.
It's a very state run. It makes it a lot more secure and safe.
For sure.
Yeah, she was on probation for like 18 months.
And there's very many great life coaches out there.
Oh yeah.
There's you can find awesome people that way, but you also have to be very careful.
But there's also I guess I just don't know this.
Yeah, you gotta be careful about the crazy ones, the Jodies, okay? They might be harmless, they might be charismatic when you first meet them, but once they sink their teeth into you, they got you in.
But there's also...
Try to collect more money from you. Remember how we found out how much Jody was collecting from Chad? I think Chad was paying... How much again? For therapy sessions with Jody? Was it like $1,000? It was a lot of money, and it was like $1,000. Like, what is Chad working? Where is he working at to be able to afford these therapy sessions with Jody? Jesus, like he was paying so much money to her, and I think most of his money went to that.
Licensed therapists and people who are very well
$900 a month.
That are not great.
Yeah, it was a huge sum of money. It wasn't like $50 a month. It was like a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
just do your research on whoever you go see.
The same thing applies to therapists.
Okay.
Yeah,
good. I'm just
trying
to stay on the same page.
As far as credibility goes, definitely therapists and counselors have more official credentials.
So this was a life coach group.
Yes.
Okay. Now I understand. So how did you feel about it? Like,
yeah, so I remember going into it, and one of the people had said to me, like, I don't think you have a lot of like empathy for other people, and a lot of compassion for other people.
Oh, but meanwhile, the pillar of empathy was Jody. The pillar of empathy was Ruby.
Like towards you individually?
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna work on it. And so I would say my prayers at night and be like, Heavenly Father, like, why don't I have empathy? Like, please help me to like have it. And I mean, obviously everyone could have more empathy, I think, but I don't think I was like deprived of
Yeah.
empathy. Yeah.
Like cold-hearted.
Yeah.
So you look at Sherry, you don't think she's cold-hearted.
No. So I
Unempathetic is the first word that comes to mind. I'm just kidding. It's like the last thing.
Oh man. So I look back at like a lot of the things that I prayed for at that age, and I like feel bad for myself that I was like so concerned with like, help me be clean, help me be empathetic. Like I don't know what to do. And then I feel like I would work on it, and then I would go and talk with these people.
They said that I forgot where this was mentioned. Oh geez, in my notes somewhere, but I don't know how to even search for it in my notes. Chad was working, but it was just like some entry level job. Like I don't know, was it like delivering pizza or something, or working in a restaurant, or it was like something like that. I remember hearing about that. Chad had a did he have a YouTube channel too?
And they'd say, you're still not getting it. And I would just like lose my mind over like, what else am I supposed to do? Like,
what was the benchmark?
Oh, you know what? Like them telling their patients, or sorry, them telling their clients, like, oh, you don't have empathy. We don't think you have enough empathy. You need to learn to have enough empathy. This gives the person a sense of like, oh my God, I need to do more. Okay, I need to be more involved in these workshops. I need to listen to Jody more. Like, what a great way to get people to like do more for connections, I guess. By convincing them, like, oh, you're just not enough. Like, you got to do better.
For them, like, what was?
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, was it the lifeguard? Yeah, maybe it was the lifeguard jobs. Yes. I think that's what it was. 2 lifeguard jobs. Yes, that clicks.
So like every week we would keep track of like how many times you used black and white thinking, how many times you like denigrated yourself, and so it was like a very. Like I was always focused on the negative things that I was doing, and had to report on those. And so I started to notice those things in like other people as well. So like I would look at somebody and say, your eyes look dark. Like you're hiding something.
Oh no, this sounds like Jody way of thinking. You're lying. You're hiding something. You're manipulating. Oh no. I was gonna say something else. Shoot. Oh, you guys ever take like a psychology class, and then as you're sitting there, you're learning about like the diagnosis, the symptoms, and all that. And you're like, huh. And then you start like diagnosing your friends and family around you. Like, oh, you know what? I think Hannah over there has like schizophrenia. Oh, I think over there. Oh, yeah. I think Josh has like DID. Like you start like diagnosing people around you based on like what you like learned recently.
And I still find myself to this day, sometimes I make snap judgments about people, and I'm like, crap, no, I don't want to do that. So it's like, it's taken a lot of work, and still is, to like undo that kind of like snap judgment mentality about me and other people.
Wow. That's crazy.
Really good question. I forgot it.
How do you, so how long were you, I guess, actively involved in this before you decided?
I missed this earlier. Francis, thing with like high school bullies / mean girls that they become is that most of them, they still have that mean streak, but it also gives them a sense of superiority, and you can't have that mindset with patients. I don't know. I guess like for me, I guess I have a more positive outlook towards like teenagers. I would hope that they grow out of that phase, that, you know, they probably have some shitty things happening in their family life, personal life, and they like grown out of it. Like, yes, well, there are people who are bullies and they stay bullies forever. I don't know. I tend to think that people like, you know, mature and not become bullies anymore. He had like 144K YouTube subscribers. He had like upload regularly and stuff like that. Maybe that's how he was also making his money as well. YouTube. But I wonder if his family took a chunk of that.
Yeah, so I was in 10th grade when I joined, and then
I guess, sorry to interrupt. If you feel comfortable saying, what is the joining process?
Like do you
what
have
does
to
it mean
sign up?
So the joining process for it, like you can pay for like workbooks online. They have like weekly conferences you can join. You can do like one-on-one sessions with the main life coach.
Jody.
It does involve like paying to get in. So but they are like workbooks online. They have like weekly conferences you can join. You can do like one-on-one sessions with the main life coach. It does involve like paying to get in. So
it does involve paying to get in. Gotta pay that premium.
But they also do like social media stuff, and some people just look at that and they're like, yeah, this is great.
Sounds like a basic life coaching company.
Yeah. So Like I said, I joined it when I was in 10th grade. I got like more strongly involved throughout high school. So I graduated like very much on board with all of it. And then I came to college, and I mean, high school is like a bubble within a bubble within a bubble. And then I broke out of one of those bubbles when I came to BYU. Still in some bubbles, but less. So I started to, like, interacting with roommates and people that I hadn't met. I was very judgmental. I was like, wow, she's wearing that. Like, she's going to hell. Wow, she's wearing that. God's so mad at her. Or so, like, I was still very, like, judgmental about people like that. And I would take religion classes, and they would talk about, you know, God is so gracious and kind, and I'd say, well, they've got it wrong. And so I was just very, like, critical about the world. And then I think,
but I guess, like, if she went to church very often, like she said she went to church like every week, right? Wouldn't they also be teaching that as well? That, like, oh, that, like, God doesn't judge, or sorry, not judge, but, like, God is, like, you know, good, blah 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 blah, like, because it seems like it wasn't the connections that taught her that, you know, you should be judgmental towards other people and they're going to go to hell for these, like, stupid things. But it seems like this was something that was, like, stemmed from, like, her earlier childhood. So I wonder, was it, like, from her parents, or was it from, like, the church that she was going to, or what?
like, some things within my family were happening that I started to question, like, I don't know if this is okay. Like, I don't know if God would actually support this. Like, is this really the gospel? And
hey, Morden, can you mow my lawn too? Thanks. The weeds are popping up again. Ugh.
So for a long time, for like 7 months of my freshman year in college, I was just debating. I was like, I don't know what to believe. Like, I believe the gospel is true, but I don't know exactly what that gospel is.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know where to draw the line between
life coaching and
yeah,
gospel.
like life coaching and the gospel. And then I still remember one day, like, I was praying. I was like, I need, like, a very clear indicator, like, if I'm going down the wrong road, or if I'm should change something in my life. And so I woke up one morning, and I had the story of Jesus at the well with the woman.
I don't know that story.
A saying stuck out to me that he said. He basically said, like, you should worship God in spirit and in truth. And I was like, wow. And, like, I didn't think much of it at first, but it stayed with me for days. And I looked at that, like, we should worship in spirit and in truth. And I had just been doing one of those things and not
Are you guys familiar with that story, Jesus with the woman in the well?
the other. And so at that point, I was very convinced, like, this is too extreme. I need to do something, change something. But I wasn't sure how, because, you know, I want to honor my family. We're supposed to honor our parents. And I felt that to disagree with them was sinful, and that God would be mad at me too if I did that.
That's a hard paradigm, because not even just like within the gospel, but I would say people who are joining the church and their parents are Catholic or Baptist, you know, and they're going against the beliefs that their parents taught them their whole lives, right? I feel like it's pretty similar in that way.
That was Jesus and a prostitute, and he forgives her due to her faith and says to go and sin no more. Oh, okay.
But how do you think you kind of, I guess, mentally worked through that?
I gave no indication that I disagreed with what was going on, because I wanted to still be, like, included in things.
Hey, Jan, what's up? Was that the Samaritan woman?
And so, again, for those, like, whole 7 months I was doubting, whenever I'd go home, you know, it was like, oh, we use this language. We talk about things like this. And then I noticed, like, when I would leave my family, like, I would just feel, like, spiritually drained. Like, I just wouldn't feel great.
Yeah.
I would, like, overhear conversations and just, like, find myself internally, like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't okay. And so it got to the point where I was like, I can't keep pretending like everything's fine.
Yeah.
Wait, can you guys hear the audio? I feel like the audio is really low. I don't know how to boost the audio on here. I only know how to boost the audio on YouTube.
Yeah, so
that's hard.
I think that what you said about spirit and truth is so powerful. How do you feel like, we were just talking about this actually in last week's episode, where to me, life is all about learning how to discern what the Spirit feels like for you. Because if you're able to have the Spirit with you in a consistent...
Is that the one where the lady touched his cloak and people wanted her stoned to death, but he was kind? You can hear it? You can hear it? Okay.
...manner, you're gonna make mostly good choices. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna feel good. You can feel happy, even in the sad times. You can have good perspective. How do you feel the Spirit, and how did you become aware of?
Yeah,
His
so
presence?
that was something like seminary lessons. My favorite lessons were always like, how can I tell when I'm feeling the Spirit?
Mhm.
Because I was a pretty anxious kid growing up. And so I'd always wonder, like, is this my anxiety or is this the Spirit?
It's a great question.
Yeah, like if this is like, if I keep thinking about this, then is it the Spirit telling me I need to do something? And so like that was a whole other struggle on top of it. And it was hard, especially because while I was involved in this group in high school, like I felt the Spirit very strongly a lot. And I had some of my most powerful spiritual experiences during that. And so as I was thinking about it and I was like, well, is this right? I was like, well, I felt the Spirit, so it must have been good. Like it must have been okay. And so I struggled with that and I didn't exactly know what to do. But as I've thought about it, like in retrospect, I think.
You wonder why she was so anxious? It was because she was talking about how like she had to be a perfectionist. She had to be perfect. She didn't want to go to hell. She didn't want to be damned or whatever. And it could just probably be that like maybe that's like a part of like Ruby Frankie that she has in her, which is like maybe like a part of like a people pleasing, to be perfect, to not be naughty. Are Taxi and Rain in the house? They were earlier. They are on a different time zone than us. Taxi, you should be sleeping right now, okay? Don't be up right now, Taxi. Rain is also on a different time zone. When I stream earlier, that's definitely better for them. Some people just have like anxiety. Like for me, where does my anxiety stem from? Oh, well, my anxiety stems from being in like in a very, I guess, like unstable household and never feeling safe. So that's why I have like anxiety about like my well-being and safety all the time. Even though I know that like, you know, like I'm pretty safe now, but I don't know, I think about it constantly. Sounds like she equated anxiety to the feeling of the Spirit. I just passed out watching. Go to sleep. Do you have work tomorrow? Hi, Bleep. What's up? How are you doing today? Hello. Oh, wait, Jen, did you get my Discord message? Oh, you responded. Okay, I see the fat chicken.
The Spirit, in a way, was like preparing me to have the strength to be able to change and do something else. And those like spiritual experiences leading up to it were like, look at the gifts that you have and the things that you can do. And so I knew that God was there, and I think that was important. And now like I've been learning like God loves us, obviously. He knows our he knows our like God loves us. He knows our strengths and our weaknesses, and he knows that I sometimes have a hard time discerning the Spirit. And so I've learned like he's not going to like give me some grand revelation when I'm anxious, because he knows it'll be confusing. And so
that's a good point.
He will find the times that I am calm and happy, and those are the times that if he needs to tell me something, that he'll be able to do it, because he's not going to intentionally try to confuse. Like
that's the adversary's job.
That is really cool. I've never heard it like that. I think that's important to know, that obviously God knows who you are on a very deep personal level. He's going to talk to you in the way that is the most clear possible. It's kind of hard though, because like every single time there's like a face-to-face for the church, there's like that question always comes up. It's like, how do I know if it's my thoughts or the Spirit? And what do the general authorities always say? If it's a good thought,
it doesn't matter.
Do it.
Wait, sorry. Is the Spirit bad? Hold on. I'm confused. Is the Spirit bad? I thought the Spirit was good.
Right? But it sounds like from this life coaching and from this kind of way of life that you were trying to live, you were trying to live the best you could. So it's like, well, what does that mean, God? How do I do that? And it's, wow, that's, Sherri, you just taught me something really powerful today. Thank you.
Do you feel like you started to become aware of that as you spent time with your family than away from your family, that you were feeling the Spirit more in like the calm?
And I had friends that would point out to me when I'd come home from my family. They're like, you're different. Like you are going back to how you were in high school. Not that I was a terrible person in high school, but they're like, we can just see something like different about you.
Really?
So like I remember.
Did you see that in yourself?
I mean, looking back, I can. At the time, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I remember the first general conference I watched like by myself, and it was the greatest general conference ever. Like I loved it. I was like, this is so.
Oh, the Spirit is the Holy Spirit. Okay, I know Holy Spirit. I know that. There's a cat. What? Wait, did you send pictures yet? I think a lot of our neighborhood cats got eaten by coyotes. The rooster that was roosting at inappropriate times, he got eaten by a coyote. And then there was like the other chicken, the useless one, but he was like my best friend. I think he got eaten by a coyote because I haven't seen him. And then a lot of the cats, well, the only cat that is visiting me is a fat gray cat, but he doesn't like say hi to me. He just comes in and shits and then he leaves. But a lot of the animals in our neighborhoods are just getting eaten by coyotes. So sad.
So cool to just like watch by myself.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing. And so just kind of the more time I spent with myself and with God, I was like, okay, like this is how I want to feel all the time.
Yeah. Do you feel like your ability to kind of love yourself as well as like see the positive in yourself increased as you did the things that you felt like you needed to do?
Yeah, I think especially like
hopefully yes.
Even just the last few weeks, it's like looking back at like I know I was doing the best that I could.
Yeah,
like I was praying like, God, please help me have empathy, like cuz I really cared and I wanted to do good things and I wanted to be a good
it's good, but it's hard to differentiate between your own thoughts and tempting thoughts. Hey, Steph. All right, so I think that's where I wanted to end with this podcast. The rest of the podcast, there's about another like 30 minutes left. If you guys want to listen to it, it is linked in the Discord. I think Rain was the one who linked this initially. Sorry, I can't speak. I gotta pop out. But I linked it in the Discord if you guys want to listen to the rest of it. I mean, I did want to hear from Sherri's perspective and how she was able to get out of this like whole connections indoctrination shit, okay? And how she was able to finally like, I mean, like it's okay. It's hard to be a part of a family where there's like so many other siblings, right? I feel like it was probably really hard for her to have like identity of her own because her family was seen as like a family unit, you know, like on YouTube, it was like 8 passengers. She was like seen as like a whole. So it's kind of, it's really interesting to hear her talk about how she was able to branch out of that and then kind of like carve her own identity from, you know, going to college and getting to meet new people and experience new things. So it's really cool to hear from Sherri. It's also cool to hear from Chad as well. We did parts of his little clippets from his Twitch stream. But I think that's where I want to end it with this. If you guys want to listen to the rest of it, it's going to be posted in the Discord. And it's free. There's no paywall or anything like that. We have another halfway through. But yeah, I'll probably listen to the other rest of it on my own. If there's anything that pops out, maybe I'll go over it with you guys. But I need to go eat, guys. I need to go eat. It's hot in here. I need to open the door. And I got some work to do before I head out. I'm going to head over to the desert today and wish me luck. It's like 90 degrees weather out there. Oh my Lord. But we're just doing like a last minute desert trip. Yes. Did y'all watch Fallout? Yes. Okay, wait, Rain, did you watch Fallout yet? Yes. I watched the first episode of Fallout. It was so freaking good, okay? Now I'm watching YouTube lore videos on the Fallout video games. I didn't know Fallout 1 came out in 1997. Do I have a varmint rifle, Corgi? No. Is that a gun? What are you gonna give me one? That's such a specific question. What is that? Yes, I want to see the visitor cat. I tried being friends with my neighborhood cats, but they're too skittish because they're all like they're all strays. They don't really like humans. Good luck with the plumbing. They're coming back on Friday, and I think we're gonna pay them over $1,000. No. Oh God, we're not going for Coachella. Fuck no, Coachella's already over. But it's kind of near Coachella, but Coachella's gone. Okay. Oh, for the coyotes and the raccoons, I feel bad. We saw the coyotes. Okay, so I know who ate the rooster because I saw the pack of coyotes. We were driving around, and it's like near my house. There was 3 skinny ones, and there was 1 coyote that was like very fucking well fed. Okay, that motherfucker ate the fucking rooster. All right, he was so well fed. He was like he looked like a house dog. That's how well fed he was. But I don't know. I feel bad. I don't like hurting animals. I like animals. I didn't think I would enjoy listening to Sherri, but I did. Thanks, Corgi. Yeah, I was like 7 minutes in. I was like, oh, this would be really cool to listen. But I didn't know she was going to get into the connections part. I thought she was just going to talk about her growing up, family, and like religion and stuff like that. I didn't know she was going to talk about connections. So she didn't say the word connections, but we all knew it was fucking connections. But yeah, the next half is still available. You can listen to it for free. It's posted in my Discord if you haven't already joined the Discord. But other than that, I'm going to work on a video that we're going to post. I finally watched the 2020 special of Mom Influencer to Felon. So we did a little recap on that. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I'll do the recap for you. But you should also check it out too if you like. A lot of the information has been stuff that we have covered, but there were some new information here and there that wasn't initially released in the evidence or any like other news reporting or anything like that. So yeah. Yeah, but they're eating all the cats and chickens. I mean, I don't want to kill things. You know, I feel bad. The cats are on their own. The chickens, they're already dead. They're already gone. There's no more chickens in the neighborhood. I just don't know why, because the rooster was a beautiful fucking rooster. It belonged to my neighbor. I wanted to put the rooster in my fucking yard along with the chicken, but I didn't want to make it seem like I was trying to steal their fucking, you know, their chickens and shit. But I don't know. They just like left them in the fucking, they let them roam in the neighborhood. I don't know why. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. And yeah, I can post a link for you guys. For some reason, I can't see links in my YouTube channel, which is like kind of weird. Like when people post links in my YouTube channel, I cannot see it. The link is right there. And yeah, I'll listen to the second half. And if there's anything else that pops out, I might listen to with you guys again, or maybe just like play bits and pieces of it. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care. Join the Discord if you like. If there's any other true crime stories on there, feel free to post. But I hope you guys have a good day. Take care. Mrs. Alicia, thanks for joining us. He was probably like a pack leader. Yeah, no, he was well fed, okay? But the weird thing was he wasn't leading the pack. He was actually at the end of the pack. So I don't know if he was like maybe like I don't know. What's that like football player that does the protection of like the other football players? Like he was like he let the skinnies go first and he was at the end of the pack, kind of just like watching their back. I thought the pack leader is always in the front. So I don't know. Maybe he was just like a big dude or something like that. A secret tendy place. Gonna go to my secret top tier tendy place. Oh, by the way, Jan, I finally tried the ube pie from Jollibee's. And it tastes like nothing. There's like no flavor. I'm like, what the fuck am I eating? I felt like I was just eating beans. I don't know. There was like no flavor or anything like that. Oh, yeah, I should have I tried to take a picture video, but I wasn't able to get it out in time. But they were huge. Okay, or that one dude was huge. If I see the coyotes again, I'll take pictures. They're called pack leader, but they're not leading the pack because it's it's not safe. Oh. Yeah, it's right near a school too. I don't know. They these guys were roaming around in broad daylight, okay? They did not give a shit. I don't know. Bye. Don't join any cults over the week. Yes, don't join on any cults over the week. Don't poop in your bed. And I hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys later. I know there's some stuff that I'm looking forward to cover. And let's see if they release the Hannah Gutierrez jailhouse calls. I would love to hear those. But I'll keep an eye on that if they do. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good one. Take care. The coyotes are on Fent and Calais. What, fentanyl? I've already joined 3 cults. You're the cult leader, aren't you? Wayne, I knew it. I had that feeling from you. It could just be that he's protecting his pack so he could be the leader. Gotcha. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. That's why he was at the end. I don't know. I always watched like the animal dogs. I always thought they were always in the front of the pack. Or maybe they're female coyotes or like they're the kids or something. Maybe it's like a mama that's protecting them. People are dumping fentanyl and trash in the water supply. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care.